Good morning. Welcome back, everybody. Good morning, Mama Bear.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm okay.
That you're okay. Okay. She's okay. We're okay. She's okay. I'm okay. You're okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. All right, guys. Have a great day. It was great to see you today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Oh, I wonder how many people be mad about that one. It's a good day today. It's a really good day today, actually. There's some good news all the way around and a bunch of different variations. First and foremost, uh, Miss Sherry Wisdom Speaks is doing better. She came home. I don't know if we'll see her today, but um, she's home, and I'm happy to hear that. She's doing better. She's feeling better. That's good. So thank you, everybody, for your prayers and thoughts for that. Um, Secondly, I got some other good news this morning. I found where to go. Let me show you guys here real quick. Hold on just a minute. Maybe. Bing bang boom. Here we go. For those of you that don't remember a case that we were covering like crazy. Okay, we kept putting the information out again and again and again. For the missing 16-year-old Sophia Franklin. She was 3 months pregnant. She had been taken by Gary Day, 41-year-old father of the child as well, and hadn't seen her for I think it was a couple months, and yeah, at least. Ninth update on this one: she's now 17, and she's been found safe. The Amber Alert's been canceled. She just turned 17 on Wednesday. She's been missing for 9 weeks. There we go. After being abducted by 40-year-old Gary Day on February 2nd of 25 in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. She is pregnant with this child. Gary is in custody and has been charged with 2 counts of child abduction and 2 counts of child enticement. The Beaver Dam Police Department was notified on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025 at approximately 11:40 p.m. that deputies responded on a tip of a possible sighting of Sophia Franklin near Omaha, Nebraska, out there near JC. Sarpy County Sheriff's Office received a call of a child and man fitting Franklin and Day's descriptions. See something, say something. Law enforcement made contact with Sophia, who was with Gary Day. Sophia was taken to a secure facility to await communication or reunification with her family. Gary Day is in the custody of the Sarpy County Sheriff's Office. Beaver Dam Police issued a statement. Police department would like to thank the Sarpy County Sheriff's Office as well as the numerous other law enforcement agencies that put forth the time, effort to locate Sophia. We would also like to thank the community members in multiple states. Sorry, guys, in multiple states for the awareness and willingness to share leads to follow to help bring Sophia safely home. And I'm telling you, something else, guys. This is the little girl here. For those of you that don't remember, I'm grateful to see that. That is a good ending to a bad situation that should have never happened. He should have never been out of jail, in my opinion. But it is what it is. She's safe and sound, and I'm hoping that there's not a whole lot. Obviously, she's going to need probably some therapy and stuff like that, but hopefully she's healthy. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Let me see something here real quick. Yeah, I did. Tandy, thank you, dear, very much. Um, okay, I will. I gotcha. Sorry, guys. All right, there we go. Thank you, Miss Tandy. We do have Miss Wisdom in the chat today. That's awesome. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome home. It's great to see you again. Hope you're doing better. I'm glad you're doing better. It's great to have you back. We was worried about you. All right. So, that's a good thing. Bunch of good stuff going on. Today, guys, like I said, we're going to be looking into the Natalie Wood story from back in 1981. What happened, what we know about the people involved. Welcome, Swamp Rose. Good to see you today. So on and so forth. Sorry about that, SRB. So that I don't know. You're familiar with the Natalie Wood situation, Mama Bear, right or wrong?
I read it a little bit before we.
Okay.
Just that she drowned, but
that's what they say. Robert Wagner was there. Christopher Walken was there. And I have some questions. A lot of people think Robert Wagner did it wholeheartedly, but we don't know yet. Welcome, everybody. Speaking of, looks like Cassie's in the house. The Seahawks band. Miss Tandy's in the house. Got a day off of work. That's awesome. Swamp Rose, welcome. Good to see you today. Miss Wisdom Speaks, welcome back. Wonderful to have you back. Stormy's in the house. Good to see you today, dear.
Stormy, she's on my side.
SWBBB, thank you for joining us today. Wow, you loaded that in already? Well, that was quick today. Eddie's back in the house. One made nut. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for joining us today. Bye. Let's see. Elba Rico, welcome back. Good to see you today. Paula Fitzhenry, good morning and welcome back to you. Wonderful to see you guys today. Sassy Cassie. Miss Denise, welcome back. Miss Lacey, good to see you today. And welcome back, Aurora. Good to see you as well. Trish Crow, welcome back. Brandy B, the OG's in the house. Good to see you. And of course, everyone, today is Tomboy's birthday. So make sure that you wish her a happy birthday. Please and thank you, whether she wants you to or not. I didn't see her in here yet. Is she in here? Aunt Clara, welcome back to you. Good to see you. I know she can hear me, so whether she's showing up in the chat or not, I know she can hear me. I think I got everybody so far.
That's again, funny, Swamp.
What's that?
Swamp Rose said, "Wait, is this a dual stream? I thought I was like in a low-key chat room with 4 people."
No. Guys, then please make sure that you pop over and hit the like button, subscribe, and notification bell with Mama Bear over there. Her link is pinned in the chat. And if we could please drop Miss Swamp Rose's link, guys, please and thank you. Again, Swamp, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate you very much for being here with us. Yep. Wait, this is the dual stream? I think she's gonna hit 500 subscribers today, y'all. Let's make sure.
I did.
We need to make that happen. So if you have not subscribed, please get your dogs in there. Whoever we need to get her in there to subscribe to her, please. Let me see here. What do we have, Mama Bear? You are exactly at
491, I think, was the
491.
Yeah.
Yep. We need 9 more. 9 more. We can do that today. We will make that happen today, one way or another. We will make that happen one way or another. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You deserve it for sure.
And it's the watch hours. We got to crank.
And then we'll figure out the watch hours. Yes. We'll get every device we have rolling. Faulted Wolf, hello and welcome. There's the link for Swamp Rose. Guys, please go check out her channel if you will, please and thank you. I appreciate that very much, SRB. Great channel, great creator. Plenty of insight. You'll definitely not be disappointed. Go over there, hit that subscribe button, show some love and support, please and thank you. Anybody that does, tell her Dago sent me over here, and you will be good to go. I promise you so very much. Buenos dias, Miss Amy. Good to see you today. And guys, we're growing too. Every day we've gained 2 or 3 new people every single day. I love seeing it. It's great, and I appreciate every one of you guys for making that all happen here. You guys are amazing. You're very welcome, Miss Rose. You know better. I'd like to get Kiki to join me here one of these days. Hopefully, we can do something together. I'd love to see that happen.
You stop.
Oh, yes, sir. Sorry, I'll be quiet now. Go back to my corner. Poor ghost. He's a whining away. I can hear him. Mr. Randy Ferrer, welcome back, sir. Good to see you. Is Idaho in the house? A hoe named Ida. There she is. Idaho. Welcome back.
Randy.
Good to see you. Randy, always a pleasure, my friend. All right, guys. 23 peeps in the house, 21 likes. We are getting there. And again, don't forget, hit that like button over on Mama Bear's side. And if you have not subscribed, please help her get to 500 today, guys. We can do that. I know we can. In fact, let me see something here. Let me see something. I forgot about something, Mama Bear.
Oh,
yeah.
Really, Aunt Clara?
Give me something here real quick.
Aunt
Okay.
Clara said, I've got some interesting insight about this case. My mother-in-law dated Robert Wagner when she was in college. She grew up Beverly Hills and wealthy family. Her dad, a lawyer, and coached UCLA basketball team.
Well, maybe you would be interested in joining us today, Aunt Clara. Maybe, maybe not. Just saying. All right, so we got that like there. Nope. Shoot. I thought I could do it, but I didn't. I was already subscribed to you. I was going to subscribe from my other channel, my Toy Box channel, and I already did it. Well, shoot. Okay.
It's okay.
I tried.
It's okay.
I'll make sure Brandy subscribes to you too. Hell, Caden probably could too. Now that I think of it, it's a good idea.
There you go.
Miss
I
Sherry
like
said, right? You probably about tackled her. Dog breath everywhere. How many kisses did you get? I bet you were soaked.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's really interesting, Claire. I'm very interested in that. This case has always mesmerized me. I love stuff like this. And the fact that it's celebrities makes it even more interesting. So absolutely in chat, but not on screen, even if I would know. I understand. It's okay. Well, anything we have, we'll send it your direction. And again, guys, please make sure to subscribe to the co-host here. Well, that would be me, but she runs the show. You guys know that. Mama Bear's channel, please and thank you. It is pinned in the link in the chat at the very top. Just click on that link. It'll take you right over there. You guys are welcome to hang out over there too. It doesn't matter. We're all here together. Let's see. We also have our Discord. Stormy has her Discord as well. For those of you that have not joined that yet, I can see why. She was beautiful, Randy. She was absolutely beautiful. Beautiful woman. And she was a great actress too. A lot of stuff I've seen.
Hello, Aurora.
Oh, I got a ghost story that goes along as well. Wow. That's awesome, Aunt Claire. I love that stuff. Welcome, Chickbait. Good to see you today. Not working.
Hey, Chick.
Oh.
What, the link in the chat's not working?
Which one isn't? The one at the top?
I don't know.
It took me right to you.
Are you Rise Hamilton can't find her.
Rise Hamilton. If you go to the chat, the very top, there's a white box and it says highlighted in yellow, the True Crime Cafe with Dago. There's an HTTP link there. You just click that and it'll take you right over to her page. West Side Story was the best. It was a great one, Randy. I agree. Great one.
The pinned one is.
Yeah. If not, one of the mods can drop another link in the chat. Peggy, hello and welcome. Good to see you over at Mama Bears. Thank you for joining us today.
Hiya, Peggy. How's the move going?
Oh, wait a minute.
Takes me to a monkey. What?
Wait, what?
Amy said, takes me to a monkey.
A monkey? What? I just clicked it and it took me right to you. A monkey.
Thank you, Jeff.
Welcome, Jeff. Good to see you. Oh, he stopped on your side? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Jeff must be mad at me. It's okay.
Right, let me.
Well, I can't do it that way.
I clicked it and it took me to my channel.
That's what I did.
That one worked. Sub for Mama Bear. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Amy. See, he stopped on your side and clicked the like for you too. He's not mad at you.
I was just teasing.
Did it work, Rise?
All right, this is going to be a little difficult because of the way I had to do this. So bear with me, everybody, because you know how we do with birthdays around here. So first and foremost, I'm going to throw this up here. Hold on.
Awesome. Thank you, hon.
Happy birthday to the Super Tomboy. I hope you can see that, even though you're hiding and not in here. Dragonfly, welcome. Good to see you. There's that. The personalized thing was a little hard to do with her name. So there's that. And then let's see here. Hold on. No, that's what she reminds me of. But I know she don't like that kind of music. But that's what she reminds me of. So happy birthday there, and of course, of course, never fails, never fails. Hold on.
She said, "Thank you so much."
There's your cake. Hold on. Okay, everybody sing happy birthday. And
I'm not singing.
I'm not meaning in real life because you ain't gonna get me to do it. I don't know if you like that kind of cake, but that's what I could afford. I work for YouTube, so there you go. So you know, I did my best. Make a wish. And I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing year leading up to this time next year when we can do this all over again. I appreciate you being part of this family and part of this community. You are amazing. We would not do the same things without you, dear. You're a very important part of this. So appreciate you so very much. Enjoy your day again, your weekend, the year. We love you. Happy birthday. And don't you can fling your birds at me later.
There's one in chat from Tandy.
I figured as much.
For her.
Absolutely. So love you, dear. And thank you again. Happy birthday. Enjoy your cake. All right. I love birthdays here, guys, because if it weren't for your birthday, you wouldn't be here. And that's important to me. And you guys are important to me. So that's why I do this for every birthday that I find out about. Most people try to hide them from me. Some people have succeeded. Most don't because I figured it out one way or another. Yes, yes, yes. So everybody wish Tomboy a happy birthday. So on we go. Mittens for Kittens, welcome. Be real, what's happening? Good to see you. Good to have you here. And Clara, again, wonderful to have you here for this today. That's awesome. Wonderful to have you here for anything. But Rise Hamilton, good to see you. Again, everybody, make sure to like Mama Bear's side. Pop on over, hit the link at the top of the chat. Hopefully it doesn't take you to a monkey. Let's see.
Yes, those are fighting words, girlfriend.
Who?
Cass.
Cassie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait.
Her mama's gonna get her.
SRB. Oh, you better be nice to your mom. Girl. Thank you, Randy. It ain't no big deal, SRB. I did it, and look at me. I looked a mess beforehand. I look a mess after. It doesn't matter. She needs a whooping. If they live closer, that's why she does that stuff, because they don't live close. She can get away with it that way. Yeah. Stormy said corners. Thank you, Randy. So how many people in here, by showing with a 1 in the chat, are familiar with and know about the Natalie Wood situation or the case? Or even knows who she is, for that matter? It's what you guys get for saying it's all downhill from here when I turn 30. Well, I mean, it is. We're just being factual with you, kiddo. Since you're the baby in here. So almost all of you guys.
-6, Cass.
What'd you say?
-6.
-6, right. That's funny. So most everybody knows about it. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff.
Stormy
Yes,
asked, this is the actress who went missing from the boat.
Yep. All right. once again, welcome back to Wisdom Speaks. It's wonderful to have you back, dear. Good
Hey,
news
Christy.
today. Welcome, Christy. Good to see you. Again, guys, if you have not yet subscribed to Mom Bear's channel, please do. We need 9 more subscribers to get her to 500. If we
Okay,
can't
we
do
need
that,
5 more.
I'm sorry, I lied. 5 more. That was quick.
Yeah.
5 more subscribers. See, if we can't do that today, well, then what the hell? And it is Friday. And I'll be here later this afternoon as well, you guys. I think Sarge is going to be joining me for that one.
I'm going to say Sarge is live now.
Yeah, he said he was going to do one. He couldn't hold his tongue. He wanted to talk about shit so bad. So, like, Dago, you're doing one? I said, yeah, but it's the morning show, Sarge. We got to do this cold case thing we do. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, it's important too. Maybe I'll just throw one out. I know how he is. When he has a thought in his mind, he cannot sit there and just wait. So he'll probably be joining me later for that. And of course, Sarge has his channel, Your Ass Hurts News Network. He goes live at 9 every night, just about. It'd be interesting for you to jump over there too, because you never know what you're going to hear over there. Critical Minds in the house. Good to see you today.
Hey, Critical.
31 likes. You guys are amazing. And again, everybody, please don't forget to hit that like button on that other side of the fence there with the mama bear. I wonder, you know, what would be neat if we could figure out how to do this, and I bet you we could, is to put this up here and make it look like we're actually sitting next to each other. I've seen another channel do it that I follow. It's a toy channel, and it looks like they're sitting side by side, and they're actually not. But I know it's probably something you would have to do with like OBS or something. I was just thinking about that. Looking at the screen.
Yeah. Could research it, figure it out. I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right, everybody. Let's get this stuff moving.
Oh, 4 more.
That's it. It's happening. Whoa. Who is that? Oh, no. Sorry. I was looking at something on my screen. Don't mind me. Load all this in. I've never seen Scarlett Johansson look like that before.
And that's what I was thinking. Tandy. We'd have to have get the same background.
Oh, yeah. You can do that. Thank you, Ida. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Please and thank you, guys. What she said, she needed 4 more. That's awesome.
Now I need 2 more.
Ho, here we go. It's that time. Make it happen, you guys. Make it happen.
Thank you.
Be real.
Awesome. Thank you, Stormy.
We need 2 more. 98, 99, 500. We can do this. Come on now.
You're fine, Peggy.
Yeah, right, Mittens. I agree. I would always love to hear what Walken would have to say. 1 more subscriber to get Mama Bear there, guys. 1 more. If I could do it, I'd do it. So anxious. 1 more. Somebody. I don't know. Like I said, make your dog an account, something. 1 more. I want to see it happen. Oh my God. If that sits at $4.99, I'm going to go insane. I'm serious. You know how I am with that kind of stuff. 1 more. Come on. Refresh. Oh God. And then, yes, for sure, we'll figure out something to do with them watch hours and get them moving.
Yeah.
Terry said, I got it. She got it. The infinite wisdom. It's wonderful to have you back, Sherry. We have missed you a lot.
Yes.
The mother of the channel, per se. It's amazing to have you. But I was really worried about her, too. I was. Every time she gets under the weather, I get nervous.
501. Yay.
Hell
Thank
yeah.
you, under and over it.
Thank you, guys. You
Thank
guys
you.
are
Thank
amazing.
you.
502. There it
Yeah.
goes. There it goes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you guys very much for doing that. That's
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys are awesome.
Yes. That is amazing. God bless. You guys are awesome. I swear to God.
Ah!
You stop it right now. Welcome under and over it, and thank you for that again. All right, guys. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I had no doubt this community, if any community, would do it, but okay. Let's see here.
Mr. Heyman just said, awesome. Thanks, Wisdom. All right, Randy's ready for Natalie.
Here you go, Mama Bear. It's taken 3 years. Is it 3 years you've had this? You both started this channel?
I think 2 years.
2 years? Okay. You did it. Thank
Did it.
Lord
Finally.
Jesus. All
Thank
right.
you.
Congratulations, ma'am. I am proud of you. Super proud of you.
Thank you, Tandy.
All right. Onward and upward, Miss Natalie. All right. Okay, now if my downloads work, we'll be good. Yes, very much. Me too, Peggy. Me too. Okay, load up. Uh-oh. I get the finger. Tomboy just told me to look in Discord. Yep. I got a whole song. Okay, Miss Tomboy. Thank you. Hold on, you guys. Let me get that loaded in. Or this loaded in. Where is it at? Hang on here. All right, we're going to start off with this and roll into the whole thing we do here.
The death of Natalie Wood, just 43, shocked Hollywood and sent streams of mourners to the home where she lived with her 2 children and husband, actor Robert Wagner. Wagner went into seclusion. Only 2 days earlier, the couple sailed to California's Catalina Island on their yacht. With them, the yacht's skipper and actor Christopher Walken, with whom Miss Wood had been making a film. Saturday night, they dined ashore, then returned to the yacht. A short time later, Wagner said he discovered his wife missing. Yesterday, her body was found floating in a cove about a mile away. Nearby was the yacht's motorized dinghy, which, according to a family spokesman, Miss Wood frequently took out alone. Coroner's deputies say she apparently died of accidental drowning. Just how, they're not sure. Natalie Wood and her family had become prominent fixtures in Hollywood's civic and social affairs. From her first role as a child, she had always seemed destined for stardom. At age 9 in Miracle on 34th Street.
I'm Santa Claus. Oh, you don't believe that, do you?
Mm-mm. You see, my mother's Mrs. Walker, the lady who hired you.
Oh,
But I must say you're the best looking one I've ever seen.
really?
She was so good, she was terrifying. The recollection of Orson Welles of some of those early Natalie Wood movies. Good, but she kept growing. At 17, the sweetheart of James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause,
I'm sorry.
and the first of 3 Oscar nominations.
I'm sorry that I treated you mean today. You shouldn't believe what I say when I'm with the rest of the kids.
Though not known as a singer, her other gifts easily won her a leading role in the smash hit West Side Story.
I believe you. You do have magic.
Of course. She was that Hollywood rarity, the child star who grew up completely. Very much the mature.
Sorry, the video quality, guys. It's an old video, so really old.
Woman in the last married couple in America.
I thought we had something special.
In all, Natalie Wood made more than 40 films, many of them glamorous roles in popular movies.
She was,
but it wasn't enough.
It doesn't
Less than
matter
3
to
months
them.
after her death this weekend, she was scheduled for her first starring role on stage in the play Anastasia. David Dow, CBS News, Hollywood.
Good old Dan Rather.
The 43-year-old actress's death. Terry Drinkwater has details.
The coroner's autopsy indicated Miss Wood had died by accident.
Shortly after midnight of the Sunday morning, she apparently attempted to get on to the dinghy, slipped and fell in the water, unable to return to the dinghy or the boat.
Coroner Noguchi said under California law, she was legally intoxicated.
Certainly, it's one of the contributing factors.
Noguchi also indicated there was.
Now I'm going to tell you the problem starting off with this that I have, that her husband, Robert Wagner, Christopher Walken, the actor, you guys know, more cowbell guy, we're both out there, okay? If she would have fallen into the water, slipped off of the dinghy, whatever it was, there's no reason that neither one of those two could have jumped in and saved her, okay? This is what my issue is. And I've never, ever swayed beyond that thought. There's no way that that couldn't have happened, in my opinion. And these people had money. They had nice boats. They had, the boats come with life preservers and all that other stuff. There's no way that they couldn't have jumped in or done something to get her out of that water, in my opinion. Again, my opinion. So, just saying.
Was an argument between her husband, Robert Wagner, and their guest, actor Christopher Walken. It was not violent and did not involve her, according to Noguchi, but she then walked out of the room anyway. On the resort island of Catalina itself, investigators questioned those involved in the frantic late-night search. After a long evening of partying, Miss Wood apparently left the salon of the family yacht alone. She attempted to board this rubber dinghy. It was here that she fell and drowned. Wagner had often said she was a poor swimmer. He has been in seclusion since yesterday. She had worked in Hollywood for 39 years. It may have all looked easy and wonderful, but at times it wasn't. She once joked that her bills for psychiatry were, quote, at least equal to the annual defense budget of most Central American nations. One of her own favorite films was about marriage.
I never should have brought him here.
This month, she was to complete the picture Brainstorm. Recently, on location, she talked about how much a busy life meant.
It really is a question of trying to figure out how to use your time the best way and to be flexible. Because I think the main thing is to try to be together as much as possible so that everybody, you know, so that you're with your kids enough and with your husband enough and with yourself enough and doing your own thing enough.
Terry Drinkwater, CBS News, Hollywood.
The Supreme Court heard arguments today.
Accident. That's the finding of Los Angeles coroner Thomas Noguchi in the death of actress Natalie Wood. Her husband, actor Robert Wagner, remains in seclusion at their home today. Friends say the family will hold a private funeral, perhaps tomorrow. Terry Drinkwater has a report from Hollywood.
Fans and friends alike offered what comfort they could to her children and to her husband, Robert Wagner. Meanwhile, the coroner's investigation continues. The autopsy revealed she was legally intoxicated at the time she fell overboard, off the yacht, trying to reach the dinghy.
She was apparently having wine, champagne, perhaps 7, 8
What a lot of people think,
glasses of
Tomboy.
wine, and certainly will not cause a person to be drunk.
Coroner Noguchi said it was a combination of circumstances. What caused her to come out on deck in the middle of the night?
Argument apparently took place, not involving Miss Wagner, but Mr. Wagner and other actor.
The other actor was Christopher Walken. Noguchi speculated Miss Wood had listened to it long enough. He also said she hit her head on the side of the vessel when she fell. There were scrape marks, he continued, but no evidence of foul play or suicide.
Injury to the face, which would may render temporary unconsciousness.
Where was that injury precisely?
Left cheek and this area.
And the cause of death?
It's tragic accidental drowning.
And see, I've read a lot on this actually over the years that that there was a blunt force injury on her face and head per se. So was it from falling and hitting, or did she get hit in the head and knocked overboard per se? Okay, there's a lot of different variations of what happened with this. So I'm sure we're going to find out different details and so on and so forth. I just want to show the news stuff on this first, like I like to, and then we'll move forward.
Though nothing can bring back the hour of splendor in the grass, glory in the flower, we will grieve not.
In 1961, Miss Wood had the starring role in the movie Splendor in the Grass. The Wagners named their yacht Splendor after the film. It was a story of love never fulfilled, but never ending either. Terry Drinkwater, CBS News, Hollywood.
The governments of the
word today in Tinseltown, hooray, hooray for Hollywood, and happy birthday. A serious part of the celebration of Hollywood's 100th birthday, the unveiling along the Walk of Fame of star number 1,842 for actress Natalie Wood, late wife of actor Robert Wagner.
The Empire State Building on a great fall day in New York City. Mr. Lonnie Quinn says it's going to be 52 degrees today.
52, nice.
Perfect fall weather. Welcome back to the Early Show. I'm Russ Mitchell.
And I'm Rebecca Jarvis. And in a moment, police have reopened the case of the mysterious drowning death of actress Natalie Wood. CBS's 48 Hours has uncovered some new evidence about what really happened the night she died.
Also this morning, can people read you like a book? Why you could have the kindness gene.
And I think Russ has that one.
Oh.
Also, we'll show you how to save more than 30% on your Thanksgiving dinner. But now the case has been reopened, and CBS News' 48 Hours and Vanity Fair magazine have uncovered some startling new evidence. CBS's Lee Cowan reports.
The information we received made us want to take another look at the case.
With that, a mystery that has gripped Hollywood for almost 30 years. The death of screen icon Natalie Wood was back in the headlines. And one of the reasons is this man.
Welcome, Miss Kim.
I believe that Robert Wagner was with her.
Now, I have an interview from this guy that I'm going to be showing you guys. That's why I cut that off there, because I don't, I want to give you the full thing. Welcome, James. And the way we're doing this today, guys, we're going to start changing this up with the copy and the cold case things. It's going to be a little different today. We're definitely doing it the way we always do it today because of this type of a story, but it's going to be changing up here soon. thanks to my amazing moderators and their amazing brains and the ideas that they have. So just to give you guys a heads up, thank you, Kim, for that, and welcome. All right, moving on to the other side to this. Sorry. I have an interview with that gentleman as well as Lana, who is Natalie's sister, and she's got her own thoughts on this too, you guys. Hold on a minute here. Please let me know if there's any issues with the audio or anything, guys. Please and thank you.
Natalia Nikolaevna Zakharenko, known to the world as famed actress Natalie Wood, starlet of the silver screen. She helped build Hollywood. She led some of our most iconic films, Miracle on 34th Street, Rebel Without a Cause, West Side Story. But what happened on that fateful weekend in 1981? She took a cruise, a vacation, with Robert Wagner and Christopher Walken, and she brought along her captain, Dennis Davern. Was it an accident, or was Natalie Wood murdered? Join me today exclusively on Cinemills TV as I kill the killer of Natalie Wood.
We have Chris Todd coming back around. Thank you.
Thanks for having me again.
It's always a pleasure as we go into the Natalie Wood murder mystery or death mystery. The LA County coroner does believe that it was ruled an accidental death. Explain to us first the significance of Natalie Wood as it relates to the pantheon of actresses in Hollywood.
Natalie Wood is not only iconic, we all kind of grew up with her, right? She was a child star. Some considered her possibly the best female child actress next to Shirley Temple. Miracle on 34th Street was a big hit. She also did Driftwood. She was brilliant, and her mom had coached her and kind of, brought her along, and they knew they had a star on their hands. And she went on.
This was created May 9th of last year, 2024, for those of you that asked Randy, and anybody was questioning it.
Very young, Rebel Without a Cause. Rumors that she had an affair with the director. He was like 40 years old, Nicholas Ray. And she was like 16 years old. She wanted to work with James Dean. And she was really hot for those years. Her movies back to back.
Hang on. I have to do this, guys. I'm sorry. Thank you, SRB. Welcome. Where's it at? I just saw her. Where'd she go? Hold on. Where are you? Dagburn, Johnny Gobbles, Dead Floozy Mama. Thank you for joining us. Hee hee. I love getting to say it. Hello, 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 Dagburn. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you very much.
Were just like really big time brand name films. And she did West Side Story. She was in over 40 films. So at the end of her career, being in Brainstorm with Christopher Walken, which they were filming at the time of her murder, she really is not only a household name, she was a 3-time Academy Award nominee. Okay. She had a good sense of humor. She accepted like the
James
Worst Actress Award one time. So she was a unique individual. And I've had a lot of people come to me over the years and be like, I'm in love with Natalie Wood. Can you do something with Natalie Wood's case? And I've actually been on this, just to say, I've been on this for 8 years.
Right. And I know you've done a lot of source investigation as it relates to meeting with their captain, Dennis Davern, and so forth. But, you know, her iconic image in Hollywood, at 18, she ends up marrying Robert Wagner, known as RJ. They fell in love and they got married. And during that marriage, was it smooth sailing or was it rocky, you know, War of the Roses between them? How would you describe that marriage?
Not compared to the second marriage. They actually get married again, which is very unique. Okay. That does not happen very often. Their first marriage, I think, lasted about 4 to 5 years. They separated and then were divorced a year later. And then she went on to date other famous people. So I wouldn't say it was super choppy, but obviously there was some issue that it didn't work out.
And she's been romantically linked during their breakup to Warren Beatty,
Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra. I mean, the who's who, other producers, directors. And somebody had made a comment too that a lot of Natalie Wood's friends were men and that she didn't have many female friends and acquaintances.
Now, do you believe that that may have put a wedge in the relationship at that time?
I think they truly were in love. They were a magical couple. There were some ups and downs that Dennis Davern did talk about, but nothing like that happened on the Thanksgiving weekend in 1981. That was just a freak show.
Christopher Watkin, Captain Davern, and Natalie Wood set sail to Catalina.
Yep.
And it's a Friday evening.
Friday, yep, 27th of November.
And when they basically get into port over at Catalina, they go to a bar, right?
I think they're going to move this boat to Isthmus Cove. So I believe they're at Avalon at first.
Okay. So they're at Avalon. And when they get landside, you know, reports have said that they were drinking intensely at the bar. They were getting just wasted, right?
Well, and mostly the first night, Friday night, is drinking, marijuana, quaaludes. They're partying and hanging out together. Most of it is done on the boat. And the important part of the first night is going to be this argument and this kind of blow up, which is a prelude to Saturday night, which is the night of the murder. So a lot of stuff's going on. Basically on Friday night, Robert Wagner wants to move the boat for some reason. And this is a lot of speculation about why is he moving the boat. He's trying to move it over to Isthmus Cove, which is, they call it 2 harbors. There's 2 harbors on each side. This is near where Natalie will be found at Blue Cavern Point. So Natalie's arguing with him about, why are we moving the boat at night? You're, 3 sheets to the wind. Okay. They're all having a good time, supposedly. And I think Robert Wagner was kind of flexing his muscle to be like, I'm the captain of this boat. And he called his dinghy the Valiant, the Prince Valiant and stuff. And he wore the hat and they had matching coats. And so, he was the alpha male of this trip. And I think he was trying to flex his muscle. And Dennis talks about that a lot too, of why are we moving the boat, Chief? What are we doing? Natalie actually, with Dennis Davern, leaves the boat and goes to a hotel on the mainland just on a whim. She can't stand to be near her husband.
So they're fighting and they're just not having a pleasure cruise. This is becoming a problem.
It's very tense.
She didn't want him moving the boat because he was just everybody.
And he's arguing with Walken about politics and Vietnam and and there's always this tension, which I love as part of a story or project too, is, Robert Wagner was the big TV star, Heart to Heart, right? He was in some movies, but that's not his household name, was Heart to Heart with Stephanie Powers, okay? Chris Walken is the Academy Award winner for The Deer Hunter with Michael Cimino, okay? That is considered a top 10 film of all time. And his performance with De Niro, with the Russian roulette, it may never happen again. So you got him as you like to say, he's hotter than fish grease. I think there's automatically this jealousy with this is the big movie guy. He's younger than me. He's going to get any role he wants. My wife is flirting with him and she loves him. He's a genius. He's brilliant. Oh my God. Like you could imagine. And he's saucing them back. They have sex in the movie. They're married in the movie. They're under this sheet in this cute little scene.
It's been told that Natalie Wood and Watkin go up to a bar and they're sitting kind of very close to each other and they're just chumming
This
it up.
is Saturday. They go shopping and they go to meet them for dinner. So they go off on their own. And that's when Wagner and Davern move the boat. Okay. So while he sends them, why don't you guys go, but I think it's important to talk about Friday night a little bit more and about what happens on the hotel. It's very important.
Tell us more about Friday
Sure.
night.
Friday night, obviously tense situation. It's windy, it's rainy, the weather's terrible. It's November, it's late November. And basically Natalie explodes enough to say, Dennis, get me off this boat. We're going ashore. They go ashore, they get a hotel, and Dennis Davern spends the last night of Natalie Wood's life on Earth together with her in the bed.
What do you mean? Captain DeVerne and Natalie are sleeping in the same bed?
Yes. And I think eventually he might go to the floor, but there's a famous line too where she says, keep your jeans on, because he starts to basically get undressed. They're laying in the bed together for some time because they're talking. And it's almost like, no pun, heart to heart. And she actually says she wants to be flown off the island. I want my body flown off this island. There's no planes going. They can't get off. She wants to leave.
So Natalie's pissed off because her and Wagner are just...
He's embarrassing her in front of Walken. And imagine this. Why would Natalie Wood leave Chris Walken on the boat with Robert Wagner? That's awkward, right? So that means that's a big fight for you to leave your husband there he barely know. He just met Chris Walken.
It just seems very peculiar that Captain Davern would be in the same bed as Natalie. I mean, that's his client.
He loves Natalie.
Well, it's hard not to love Natalie
And
Wood.
maybe he thought this was his chance. Look at your husband. What a fuck up. You know what I mean? And now he's with her. He's 3 sheets to the wind. She's a little drunk too. They smoked weed too with Walken. I don't know if Natalie did. I know Davern was smoking weed with Walken. They do it again on Saturday. So they take Quaaludes, and Davern brought the Quaaludes to calm everybody down. It's a mess. I look at it as like a play, almost like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, right? The 4 actors just going this
big egos
to stage, and there's little quibs and jabs, and it's brilliant. It's a brilliant story.
Yeah, it's also a very tragic story. Now, she's kvetching. She wants to get off the island as quick as possible.
Now, from the things that I've looked into with Robert Wagner, he was not a very nice person. He was very arrogant, very cocky. He knew who he was. For those of you that aren't familiar with him, he had Heart to Heart with Stephanie Powers was his claim to fame. That was his big deal. It was a TV series. It was out for years. And my aunt loved it. I watched it as a kid on accident. You know what I mean? It wasn't something I did on purpose, and he was not a nice person from my understanding. He had some secrets per se. Yes, Mittens, that's one there, that he supposedly had relationships with men at times as well, which, to each their own. There's nothing bad about that, but it was kept secret because he was a Hollywood actor. Back then you couldn't throw things like that out, and it would probably destroy his career per se in his mind. So it was a good show. Don't get me wrong. It was. I agree with that, Tandy, very much so. But very arrogant, very arrogant. I'm Robert Wagner. Don't touch me. Don't look at me. He was a good looking guy. Don't get me wrong. He's, it is what it is. But he knew it, and he thought that nobody could touch him. He was untouchable and he could do no wrong, and just all of that. And he ended up going wacko as he got older. At least in my opinion. So there's that to know about him too. For those of you that aren't familiar with him, from everything I looked into, everybody he interacted with had a negative response to the interaction with them. At some point, he did something in a negative way. Now, Miss Clara says here that her is it mother-in-law? Did you say, Clara? Let me back. Was it mother-in-law, Mama Bear? Or was
Yes,
it?
I believe so.
Yeah, her mother-in-law dated him and kind of gave the same. He was arrogant, cocky, I think he's better than everybody situation. So, and a lot of Hollywood actors are that way, I guess. I've heard that. So be it. Yes, she said yes. So there's that to keep in the back of your mind, knowing. And now, mind you, he's married to one of Hollywood's most beautiful, amazing, and talented actresses out there ever. Okay, Natalie Wood was just amazing. And I'm sure that there is some sort of what is the word I'm looking for here? Some form of insecurities. Christopher Walken, a lot of people think it was a good looking guy as well. He's very popular, movie actor per se, a lot of movies, mysterious, so on and so forth. And I'm sure Wagner had a bit of jealousy towards him per se. They were friends, but when you act in movies, there's a lot of intimacy sometimes that can be taken as a jealousy. Some people get jealous of stuff like that. I gotta wonder. There was an argument between the two of them. And I gotta wonder if it was because of that kind of thing. I don't know what the argument was. Of course, nobody does unless anybody that was there would be the ones to know. They're not going to tell you. So, with him being so arrogant, I gotta wonder if it was due to jealousy with Natalie, things like that. And the way she came aboard, hearing the argument, I wonder if it had to do with her between the two. You know what I mean? So anyway, I just wanted to get that out there as we're talking about this and listening to this about his personality and the interactions that most people that interacted with Robert Wagner perceived him as the type of person that he's just, holier than thou, better than everybody. You're nowhere near as good as me type person stuff. So yes. Mother-in-law said jealous, arrogant, and mean when angry. Of course. So it all fits. Thank you so much, Aunt Claire, for your input on this. It's weird that you just came in for this one. I love it. So thank you. On we go.
She's upset with Robert Wagner. He's embarrassed her in front of Chris Watkin. It's a mess at this point. What happens next? Does Natalie kind of calm down?
So the next morning, she kind of reconsiders and said, let's go back to the boat. I'm going to make everybody breakfast. They go back, they have breakfast. Things seem to be somewhat mulled over. And then basically they're going to go ashore, Walken and Natalie, and then they're going to move the boat and they're going to stay together. Whether they're plotting something, that was always thought of too. While they're gone, what are Dennis Davern and Robert Wagner talking about while they're not there? Because this Saturday night's going to explode. So they're at Doug's Harbor Reef. There's people that say these people are very intoxicated. Someone supposedly throws a glass against the wall. They didn't know if it was Walken or Wagner. I'm probably going to guess Wagner, but we call this the Last Supper. And there was drinking and basically, which I thought was interesting, is Davern and Walken get in the dinghy and go back to the boat to get a good bottle of wine that Wagner wants them to get. He's not happy with the wine list and what he's just twisted. Okay. He's been drinking probably most of the day, as has Davern. Okay. They go back, they smoke marijuana on the dinghy ride back to the Splendor. They get the bottle of wine, they come back, they reconvene at the dinner, and the dinner starts to turn into this sloppy mess.
And you mentioned Davern's been drinking, Captain Davern. He must have had a very cozy relationship with Natalie and RJ, where he was more than just a captain. He was kind of a friend, a hang around.
He was a bodyguard. He watched the kids sometimes.
Yeah.
He was with them for 8 years.
He's kind of a does-all guy for them. Okay.
like most celebrities have. You need somebody to
a guy. Yeah.
You need a guy to help you, with the public and hold secrets. And he was the captain of the boat. He was a naval guy. That's how they found him. You know what I mean? He was working at a marina, I believe. And Robert Wagner loved him. They loved Dennis. They would never have, he would have worked there 6 months if they didn't like him. Do you know what I mean?
Right. So he had a comfortable relationship where he could drink, party with them, in as much as still be on deck for their needs, whatever they needed. Okay. So
and remember, he's the captain of the boat. That's his responsibility. Of all the passengers on the boat, we're not letting him off the hook. He is partly to blame for Natalie's death.
After dinner, and they're stumbling out of the restaurant.
Literally stumbling.
They get on the dinghy, and they take the dinghy back to.
And the light doesn't work, and they need to use a flashlight to get back to the boat. And Natalie cannot swim, and Natalie's deathly afraid of water. It was prophesied through the gypsy to the mother when she was a baby. The world will know this child's eyes, meaning she will be famous, and to beware of dark water. Everybody knew she couldn't swim. That's where Wagner's going to get exposed to.
So they go back, they get on the dinghy, they head back to the yacht, and more drinking occurs.
They pop a bottle of wine right away. It's right into it again.
And how's the energy among all them?
Bad. They're trying to keep, I think of it like a roller coaster, right? It's up and down, up and down. They're trying to keep Wagner at bay. They're trying to make it work. They're trying to salvage this weekend. Basically, things get so heated that Robert Wagner just hits his boiling point. He feels like they're flirting so much, Walken and Natalie. He just erupts. He grabs a wine bottle or champagne bottle, whatever it is, and he cocks it back and he yells, "Do you want to fuck my wife, Chris?" And he smashes this in their face. Glass blows all over Natalie and Walken and Davern. They pause and stop, and they are mortified at literally what Wagner just did. Walken gets up, supposedly doesn't say a word, and walks straight into his stateroom. He is done. At that point, Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner, she threatens to divorce him, I believe, at that moment, in front of Davern. They go into their stateroom, and Natalie Wood is beaten by Robert Wagner. And Dennis Davern witnesses it.
And at this point, Natalie's still alive, correct?
They find her earring ripped out of her ear inside the stateroom after. Bruising on her body when they find her. Oh, where'd those come from? So she was assaulted. I'm not saying she didn't fight back, but she's conscious. She's not unconscious in that stateroom.
What happens next?
They spill out onto the back deck. Okay. And Davern sees this. He is an eyewitness to this. And he doesn't say it in the beginning. And he holds this for decades. And it festers, and the guilt, right? They spill out to the back deck, and the argument ensues and even ramps up. He turns up the music because he doesn't want to hear it.
Are there other boats moored
There
around?
are. And we can get into Marilyn Wayne's statement of hearing a woman pleading, "I'm drowning, help me, help me." And the only issue I have with that somewhat is if the music's loud and they're yelling, why didn't that wake her up? Why is she only hearing a woman's faint call while she's in the water? So I'm not going to say Marilyn Wayne's fake or real. I'm just putting that out there. We've got to account for that. And sound travels across water, this, pretty easily. You don't need to be that close. There are boats moored. They're all moored. They're not in the ocean. They're all kind of anchored or moored, you call it.
Right.
So, and it's exploding, and they're arguing, and Davern turns that music up, pretending like he doesn't want to hear it and doesn't want to face it. And he supposedly looks away. At that time, about 10 minutes goes by, and now he's coming back to say, at that time, she disappears. In that 10 minutes that he looks away and listens to music, Natalie, Natalie. You see what I mean? He's torn. He doesn't want to see her get hurt either, you know?
Explain to us why the dinghy was basically untied from the side of the boat, the yacht.
The dinghy's tied up. It's not untied. The dinghy is tied to the boat at this time.
Captain Davern mentions
It's
it's
already-
double tied.
It's
right?
already tied up.
Okay.
So with Wagner and Natalie on the back, the argument is going. Now, I believe my postulation through my theory, through my years of dealing with these people, in this case, deep dive the whole way, there are two scenarios. He either punches her or chokes her, knocks her unconscious, and puts her in the water. Then lets the dinghy go to make it look like she's going ashore, like she did on Friday night. Or, which I tend to believe is the real story, he says, you want to go ashore? Go ahead. There you go. Into the water. That's when she yells, help me, I'm drowning. And Marilyn Wayne and her husband and her son, they hear a woman say, I'm drowning, please help me. And at that time, Wagner, they hear a man in a slurred voice go, don't worry, darling, we're coming to get you. And he never goes to get her. And where's Dennis Davern at this moment? She then now starts to drift out into the ocean. I believe Robert Wagner releases the dinghy to help her. I'm going to give him an out. He sets that dinghy free, give her a chance, right? Here you go, sweetie. Here you go. You want to go ashore like last night? Go ahead. You do it yourself. And he can't turn back. The anger, he's seeing red. He's fuming. He can't turn back. And he watches her begin to drift out into the ocean.
So he was filled with so much rage. Your hypothesis suggests that he is kind of like fight for your life.
He's given her, like, it's his wife. It's the mother of Courtney. They have one child together.
Well, if that's the case, he also, in my opinion, had to make it look good. Okay. He set the dinghy out to make it look as if that's something that was going to happen. There were 3 men on that boat. 3. Not one of them went into that water to go after her. Anybody explain to me how that is okay? Okay. Whether there's alcohol, drugs, whatever involved, you see somebody, knowing all 3 of them knew that she couldn't swim. It was talked about with Walken. Wagner knew because he was married to her, and the captain had been with them for 8 years and knew all about all of her issues. Okay. So there again, once again, 3 men on that boat that could have jumped in and together could have saved her, if not just one singularly. You know what I mean? It's crazy to me, which is what tells me it was purposely done. I can't get past that. That's my opinion, of course, but you know, the captain that was there, that was close to Natalie as well, heard Wagner beating on her, didn't stop that. Neither did Walken. Some people, that's not my business. I get it, so on and so forth. You don't stand there and let a man beat on a woman, period. Okay, but whatever. That goes by. Then this happens. Nobody does anything again. I don't like it. It's just something's not right as far as I'm concerned. I agree with right there. Everybody on that boat should have been charged and looked at in a suspicious way, period. That's all I'm saying. Yep, right. Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Natasha was from another marriage for Natalie. I think, just putting myself in that marriage situation, fighting with my wife, I don't think Robert Wagner wanted to kill her. I don't. I think he was so angry, he threw her in the water. He knew she couldn't swim. This is manslaughter. I won't call it murder 1, right? And I think he lets the dinghy go. It's a double whammy. It helps him cover it up. And it also gives her an opportunity. Maybe she'll get back in the dinghy. And if she says, oh my God, my husband threw me in the water, but she's still alive. You know what I mean? It was a fight.
I have to agree with Wisdom. If he wanted to save her, if he planned on saving her, he could have gotten himself into the dinghy and went out and pulled her into the dinghy. Didn't even think about that. So no, I agree with Wisdom wholeheartedly on that one.
Oh, yeah.
This man, in my opinion, knew exactly what he was doing. Why Christopher Walken and this captain didn't help, I don't understand that. I don't. Is it because they were afraid of Wagner? Which makes no sense, because Walken was way bigger than Wagner, height wise, and everything. And imagine that it probably could have handled him. But again, these are the questions that make you go, okay. So thank you, Wisdom, for that. Is great comment. Makes a lot of sense.
I accidentally pushed it. This guy's an actor, man. These are actors. Some of the best actors in the world. They can get away with it. You don't think they could trick the LASD when they come? I don't know. Where'd she go? I came back. I was in bed. She got up. She heard the dinghy. You'd believe them too.
So Wagner's story states that she went back to her stateroom and the dinghy was pounding on the side of the yacht. And then she went out by herself in a red puff jacket and socks and a nightgown to retie the dinghy.
Fitting.
When she could have just hollered for Captain DeVerne, but
that's his job. And he's still awake. He's not in bed.
Right.
They say she hits the water a little before 11 p.m. or right around 11 p.m.
You mentioned to me that Captain DeVerne told you that he requested Robert Wagner to put on a searchlight when it was alerted to him that Natalie was missing.
Right away, he's saying we need to put the searchlight on.
And what did Wagner say?
And Wagner grabs his arm and says, stop, have a drink, and pours scotch.
So why wouldn't Wagner want to put on a searchlight?
Because he's at the point of no return. He's that angry. He knows now, and remember, he's completely intoxicated, okay? So I can't say exactly what he's thinking, but she's drifting out, okay? She's gone. He cries to him and says, she's gone, she's gone, she's gone. Why isn't he calling the Coast Guard? Why aren't you calling? He doesn't call to the land. He doesn't even call the Coast Guard. He calls to land, to the radio or to the restaurant, to somebody at 1:30 a.m. Someone's missing from our boat. He doesn't say her name. Someone, the mother of your children, one of the most famous actresses of all time, you called someone. And I want to tell you this real quick too. Later on, they ask him, one of the rescuers or the citizens of the island, when they find Natalie or they're looking for her, I'm not sure if they've already found her or right before. He says, well, you know, Natalie's probably went party hopping. She must have taken the dinghy out by herself. She's party hopping because that's the type of woman she was. That's what he said.
Do you believe Natalie would, on her own volition, hop in a dinghy and head to shore? It's just, or is that totally out of
She
her?
never drove the dinghy. She never captained the dinghy. She didn't swim. Davern drove her in the dinghy on Friday night. So no, and that's where you know, Wagner tries to keep saying like, oh, she must have taken the dinghy by herself. She never rode it herself at all. That's why he gets caught with these lies. And to say that about Natalie Wood, to say about your wife, oh, she might have went and hooked up with other people. So we're supposed to believe that she got in a dinghy and rode to random other boats because she wants to hook up with other men.
And this was 1 a.m, mind you, guys. So this was just ignorance coming out of his mouth. And jealousy. Ignorance and jealousy. She wasn't like that. But he had to make her out to be that way to play into the monster that he was, in my opinion. It's sad. It's disgusting. I mean, even we see it happen in other cases with people that aren't celebrities, guys. And it's just beyond ridiculous to me. Right. After he beat the hell out of her. Exactly, Kim. Thank you. No, she didn't want nothing to do with any of that.
Think about that. And if you're the police and the investigators, you believe him? The people told the cops that he said that.
Now, when he alerted the harbor master at 1:30 saying that someone's gone missing,
He doesn't get the harbor master. He gets they come out. It's now, and it takes an hour for them to come out. Doug Oden or Doug Bombard, they come out, okay, at 2:30.
Okay.
So 3 hours have gone by pretty much here.
Okay. And now the search is continuing.
They're searching themselves. Oh, looking around the boat. They're in a dinghy. They're trying to look around. The guy, Roger Smith, says, I think they wanted to be the hero.
Was the dinghy found adrift or no?
They found the dinghy eventually, yeah. It's kind of close to her body, I believe.
Okay.
I don't know exactly where it is found, though.
Okay. Now, she was found the next morning, right?
She's found about 7:45 a.m.
So, Chris, Doug Bombard pulls Natalie Wood out of the water, and her body is not, as you said, in rigor mortis. It's almost as if she was deceased very recently.
She's soft, she's limp. They talk about the ring on her finger, pulling the ring off. I didn't know in the beginning, I really felt that Robert Wagner had either knocked her out or choked her.
And exactly, wisdom in her nightgown. All of these things that he's claiming, once again, he's building his narrative, has to make her be the bad person to play his game into his game. Oh my God, my wife is gone. She's missing. She fell overboard. She was so drunk and she's a tramp and blah, 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 blah. All these things that he's sitting out there about her is actually, as we've said this before, Mama Bear, you've heard this. We've talked about other people doing this. Hey, Josie, good to see you, dear. What he's doing is he's expressing himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about himself as a person, self-expression, and trying to put it on her. It's not her. That's who he is. That's who he is. He's the monster. So anyway, sorry guys.
Or she was in the water unconscious. And there were other things that showed that was possible. Okay. I'm not going to go into all those parts. But after they did these affidavits, they signed these affidavits, a couple key witnesses.
Hold on, you missed the one part. I cut it off because I always do that. Sorry. I want you to hear again.
Close to her body, I believe.
Okay.
I don't know exactly where it is found though.
Okay. Now she was found the next morning, right?
She's found about 7:45 a.m.
So, Chris, Doug Bombard pulls Natalie Wood out of the water, and her body is not, as you said, in rigor mortis. It's almost as if she was deceased very recently.
She's soft, she's limp. They talk about the ring on her finger, pulling the ring off. I didn't know in the beginning, I really felt that Robert Wagner had either knocked her out or choked her, where she was in the water unconscious. And there were other things that showed that was possible. Okay. I'm not going to go into all those parts. But after they did these affidavits, they signed these affidavits, a couple key witnesses. And one was Roger Smith, who was there when Natalie was found. He starts looking for her at like 5 a.m. They don't even call the Coast Guard till 3:30 in the morning. They force Robert Wagner to call the Coast Guard at about 3:30 in the morning. Doug Bombard and Doug Oden insist he calls the Coast Guard. He wasn't even going to call at all. So then the body's found at 7:45ish. So this is hours still later. My point is this. Through the affidavits, through the research, the deep dive, and what Roger Smith says, he's a part of the Coast Guard, he's one of the key rescue guys. She may have been drifting, holding on to that lifeline with the dinghy, or trying to climb in. They find these nail scraping marks on the dinghy, that she's out there drifting for hours, which would line up.
See, that is so damn sad to me. When I heard that, and I read that, I should say, about the scratch marks they found on the dinghy, like nail claw marks, like she was trying to get in that boat. And because the buoyancy, first off, she was intoxicated, which made her balance and all that dexterity, all that stuff was messed up. As you're pulling on the side, it's pulling the boat down. You can't get up, you know what I'm saying, to get in there. That is beyond sad to me, that this woman was traumatized that much going through all this, and that she survived probably most of the night until she just didn't have it anymore and probably had to give up. She can't swim and finally drowned. And that's just utterly disgusting to me that happened when there's 3 grown men. One of them probably did what they did. Okay. The other 2 could have done something. Now, the only other thing I could think of is if the other one, panicked. Exactly, wisdom. I wonder if Wagner threatened the other 2. Maybe either with a gun or maybe with something he may have had over walking, or the captain. You know, he paid the captain. That's how the captain survived, was by being paid by the Wagners. So I got to wonder if any of those things took place. Now, anybody, I don't know. It could be a little outlandish. I could be reaching here. But I can't understand how 2 other men would not help this woman. I just don't get it. The trauma that she went through before she passed is horrible to me. Absolutely horrible. And the panicky feeling and just all of it, guys. It's disgusting. And there's a special place in hell for somebody that would allow that to happen to their wife, the mother of their children. I can't get it. Don't get it. Right. The weight of the wet jacket, all of that stuff, Peggy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Unbelievable. And it was freezing, I'm sure. The water's cold, all that stuff, guys. All of it.
With the non-rigor mortis, that possibly she had only died a couple hours before that, meaning she drifted out to the ocean and is freezing. I don't know how long she could really stay alive. I think within 2 hours she'd be dead. November in the Pacific. I don't, she's thin, she's small, she's been drinking.
She's not well in.
Well, the alcohol, I'll say this, may have kept her warm to an extent for a while, but in November in the ocean, the water's already cold. Think about what it would be like in November. It's really cold. So the alcohol could have probably helped her to stay alive per se, at keeping her body, body warmer per se for a little while. But you could only tread water so long. And if you don't know how to swim at all, I got to wonder if she held onto that boat trying to get in it and treading water. And finally her body, she was under the influence of alcohol too. So that'll tell you, it wears you down. It slows you down. And at some point she probably just got so tired and so out of it that she couldn't and just gave up. And plus she also had an injury, I feel, on her head and or her face. And it could have finally, got to her at that point too. Just saying.
Insulated.
But I will say this, rigor mortis accelerates in heat more than in cold. So she would be more preserved in the cold water. Why didn't Dennis Davern take out the dinghy and get in the dinghy and start looking for her? He knows she's missing. We don't know exactly when Wagner lets it go. Did Davern know that she was gone already and then he sees Wagner release the dinghy? Possibly.
That was another thought I had, you guys. Did Walken even know this happened? Okay. At some point, did Davern was really messed up. He was high and he was drunk. So maybe they didn't realize until after the fact. Maybe Wagner, if he did what he did, what I think he did this and waited a while and then said, oh no, she's missing. You know what I'm saying? Put a delay on the time to allow for her to get so far out there and possibly drown before he goes to say something. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to make it look good to fill in that narrative, in my opinion. Just saying. That's my other thought with this too.
I believe, and it's horrific to think, I believe.
And yes, guys, I forgot to. Also, there were Quaaludes involved. So Quaaludes, okay, take the alcohol, the Quaaludes, and I believe there was probably, I think they said something about marijuana. All three of those being possibly effective in the body.
Holy
you know
moly.
Yeah, you know what Quaaludes do. Yeah, okay. You're not going to be as perceptive anywhere near, and you're going to be slower. Just saying. And things like that. So add that into the pot. I forgot about that. Thank you, Alicia, for throwing those back in. I forgot all about those. So yes, that's another thing too.
If Natalie Wood was floated out into the ocean alone, clinging to either the lifeline or the side of the dinghy as long as humanly possible.
Now, Wagner theorizes, or his statements suggest that while she was trying to secure the dinghy to the side of the yacht, she slipped overboard.
That was always the theory. Even when I was a kid, I was alive when she died, but years later, they always kind of said, oh, she slipped and hit her head. That was always kind of the thought. That's what they fed us.
LA County Coroner Thomas Noguchi describes abrasions on the side of her head.
On her face is an abrasion, and I think the investigator with Davern, they postulate she was dragged across the deck, face down, or her head's off to the side. Is that a strike mark? Did he punch her? I don't think that would leave an abrasion. It's a very serious abrasion on her face. They thought she was dragged.
Well, he could have smashed her face off of the floor or the side of the boat on the inside, maybe, And that's the thing, though, is if she would have been dead before she hit the water, she would have been in rigor mortis. She wasn't even in rigor mortis when they found her the next morning, which tells me that she stayed, that's the part about this that bothers me the most, that she stayed alive for a while in that water. Okay. And that's why I believe she was probably hanging onto the side of that boat, trying to get in there with those scratch marks being found. And just, it couldn't. Her body gave out at some point. So yeah, if she was dead before she went in the water, she'd have been found. Probably she'd have went through rigor mortis and then started to come out of it at that point, in my opinion. So, Aunt Clara says Quaaludes like taking 10 Valiums. They're potent. Only did once. How they could even walk with wine and pot is amazing. Right, and she was very tiny person, so her tolerance is going to be lower for something like that. So yeah, absolutely.
Across the deck, unconscious. Could she wake up in the water? Possibly. There's scenarios, right? What if she woke up in the water? Help me, help. And that's what Marilyn Wayne hears. So a lot of times when I work cases, I try to make a lot of the theories fit together. They can't, but you try to see, well, could that happen in this?
When they asked Robert Wagner to identify the body, what happened next?
He says no. He tells Davern to do it. And they fly off. Walken and him, I believe, take a helicopter off the island. And Davern is left to ID Natalie Wood. And that's when he sees the bruising on her body.
Now, why wouldn't Wagner want to see his deceased wife or just be like, oh my God,
And I'm going to say guilt. He was probably sobered up at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Still an asshole, but sobered up at that point, knows what he did, and can't look at her.
Yeah.
I mean, that's me. That's my opinion. I'm just saying, I know if I was somebody like that, not everybody has the ability to be that way, but I couldn't do it. I just the guilt's got to be floating all through him at this point. He knows what he did, in my opinion. And that's what I think it was. I'm just saying.
He'll tell you, because here we go with the true crime stuff and what evidence is. He's going to say, I didn't want to see her like that.
Well, yeah. And it goes back to JonBenet Ramsey. Everybody grieves differently. There's.
And yes, Alicia, that's a big one, you guys. Remember this. This is an actor, a very good actor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever watched Heart to Heart, very good actor. Okay, and actors are the worst suspects in cases because they can act. Obviously, they know how to be different and act like a different person and act surprised and act, innocent, all those things. So an actor, that's the worst suspect to have to deal with because they're good at what they do. Just saying. Good point, Alicia.
And he kisses the coffin at the funeral, and he puts on his little show. They're already covering it up right away. And then Davern basically is bribed by Wagner to live with them for like over a year in the outhouse in the back. And he puts him on Heart to Heart, and he gets him in the Screen Actors Guild. He starts greasing
And there it is right there, guys. He keeps him close to him so he can know what Davern's doing, know that he's not talking. Here's some money. I'll give you a guest spot on our show. You can live here. I'll take care of you, so on and so forth. So, and to keep him close to make sure he doesn't say anything. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's my thought on that too. I mean, a typical narcissist, period. So
Davern. And Davern came forward. I will say this. Dennis Davern and Marty Rulli are important, but where are we today in 2024? This woman has received zero justice. And Wagner just walks around like no big deal. He wrote a book. And I'll tell you this right now. When he came forward with Natasha and HBO did this documentary, and what I realized, and this is going to relate to all my other cases and the censorship that they've done to me in Hollywood, when I look at the dates of all the articles and all the stuff they kept saying about Natalie Wood, it's 2 to 3 years after I already came forward. They blocked me again. And it was really hard the last week to research this and to see it again. People Magazine, Daily Mail, NBC, all these people. I'm looking at the dates, and I even told one of my partners, I keep seeing the dates are 2 to 3 years after. They go, of course, because they did the same thing, man. They did that. They blocked you. I'm like, I was telling them all the real stuff while this was going on and before that. And then I go to them after that. So I bracket it. I'm telling them before, then they start coming on the shows and they're back. And then I'm telling them after and still nothing. Why can't I talk?
The thing when an investigation occurs is witness testimonies are taken, right? And Captain Devern, Christopher Watkin, Robert Wagner, they all had the same story of events.
They kept it all kind of together. That's collusion, right? Walken doesn't even say anything, okay? And there's an interview of him on YouTube. You can go watch it, where they ask him about that weekend, and he just looks like he just saw a ghost, and he doesn't know what to say. He didn't come forward. Wagner didn't come forward. And Davern didn't come forward at first till many years later. And even they get caught on a hot mic. Marty Rulli and Dennis Davern in 92, 93, somewhere in there. Oh, we can't tell them how she got in the water. We got to go write a book and make a bunch of money.
Well, therein lies an issue. Is Captain Davern trying to profit off a sensationalized story?
They wrote a book. I don't think they did it for money. They wanted to make a movie. I brought a producer and an agent to them. We tried to do it. We wrote screenplays. We wrote treatments. We wrote act breakdowns. We did all that stuff. It just didn't happen. And to be honest, I'm very surprised today that nobody's made a movie about Natalie Wood's murder. I am shocked that that's never happened. They do things about the scummiest people and criminals and drug smugglers. Eventually, Natalie Wood's murder movie needs to be made for her final goodbye.
Well, let me ask you this. Lana Wood, Natalie's sister, what does she believe happened?
She believes, she said it, it's on the record,
Lana
that Robert Wagner killed Natalie Wood. She didn't say that at first. It took many years. She tries to confront Wagner at dinner. She is very driven to prove that Robert Wagner killed Natalie Wood.
Has it shifted from an accidental killing to a much more, is he a person of interest or a suspect in this now?
Well,
what is the LA County Sheriff's position on this?
And I'm going to let the air out of your balloon a little bit. He was a person of interest. He was a suspect. Marty Rulli got the case reopened with Dennis Davern in, I believe, 2011. It was officially reopened, and I believe it was Lakshmanan who was the coroner still from the OJ story. But I'm going to tell you this. There was a recent press article about a year ago or 2 years, somewhere in there, that said this case is closed. It is officially right now, that case is closed.
You believe that Natalie Wood was murdered maybe in a manslaughter kind of situation?
Murder 2. They had Wagner, and I spoke to one of the detectives, and they went on Discovery and did a bunch of talking heads on there with them. And I had the conversation, and he kept saying, we got her with Wagner on the back of the boat. We don't have her getting in the water.
And it's not what you know, it's what you can prove in the
correct.
court.
And their hands are tied. I mean, come on, it's 43 years this November.
43 years, and you're suggesting that even if it did go all the way to the box, it would be a wobbler at the very best.
Yeah, absolutely. And the jury, I mean, do people really strive to get so much justice for celebrities? We saw what happened on my other case. Did people start banging down my door for Ron and Nicole? No. Oh, Natalie Wood. Some people, oh, she's a brat. She's a rich, entitled white woman. And I hope someday someone does make a film about her as her final goodbye. She never got that. She never had justice. And I think it's important for her to be able to rest in peace.
Chris, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, this is beyond sad, you guys. And nobody And just like a lot of the other cases we see, everybody failed this woman. Everybody. And it's sad, her own husband, the captain that was so supposedly such a good friend of hers. Everyone failed this woman. One moment, guys. I have some interviews that I wanted to show you guys. One second. Hold on. There's not many. And then I do have here, 1 second. This is from 83, Christopher Walken. It was very hard to get him to talk about this. From everything I read, he really walked around the subject a lot, quite often. So this is an early interview he did, and you can tell. I have another one he did that was way newer. So hold on.
That Brainstorm is going to be released.
I don't know. I hear it's going to be released. I have a little bit of looping to do, as a matter of fact, this weekend on it. I haven't seen it. I never hear anything about it.
The untimely death of Natalie Wood during the filming of Brainstorm. Did that make that entire experience painful for you?
Oh, sure. I mean, it's in so many ways, it was a terrible thing.
Did having a coworker and a friend die change your attitude about living, Christopher?
Well, I suppose confrontation with.
You notice how he won't look up at her at all? That was pretty interesting to me.
Absence of somebody you're working with, and for anybody, it's bound to make a difference in your life. Yes, sure.
How do you feel about the way the media handled the fact that Natalie Wood did die during the shooting of Brainstorm? How do you think that was dealt with?
They handled it, in the only way they could. It was a shocking thing, and I think everything happened that was going to happen that way.
Do you think that the real story of Natalie Wood's death has actually come out?
The real story of her death is that she drowned, and nobody knows how she drowned or what happened except her. That's what it is.
See, that was pitiful. Now watch this. One moment.
Walken finally breaks his silence on Natalie Wood's death.
The untimely death of Natalie Wood during the filming of Brainstorm. Did that make that entire experience painful for you?
Christopher Walken was involved in one of Hollywood's most enduring mysteries when he was aboard the yacht Splendor with Natalie Wood and her husband Robert Wagner on the night of Wood's tragic death. On November 28, 1981, the trio, along with the yacht's captain, Dennis Davern, embarked on a weekend trip to Catalina Island. The night was marked by heavy drinking and a heated argument between Wagner and Wood, with Walken reportedly caught in the middle. Walken has largely remained silent about the events of that fateful night, maintaining a public reticence that has only fueled speculation and intrigue. For years, the circumstances surrounding Wood's death remained ambiguous, with the initial investigation ruling it an accidental drowning. The coroner's report cited alcohol intoxication and the presence of bruises on Wood's body, which were thought to be consistent with a fall overboard. However, in a recent and rare move, Walken has broken his silence, stating that Wood's death was simply an accident. He emphasized that the combination of alcohol and the conditions on the yacht led to her tragic fall into the water. Walken described the night as a tragic turn of events, asserting there was no foul play involved. His statement aims to put to rest the various conspiracy theories that have surrounded Wood's death for over 4 decades. Despite Walken's public assertion of an accidental death, the case has been subject to renewed scrutiny in recent years. In 2011, the LA County Sheriff's Department reopened the investigation, citing new information from Dennis Davern, who claimed that he initially lied to the authorities and implicated Wagner in Wood's death. In 2018, Wagner was named a person of interest in the case, although no charges have been filed against him. Detectives have interviewed Walken as part of their ongoing investigation, but he has requested that the details of his discussions with them remain confidential. He asked the detectives to promise not to reveal what was discussed, adding another layer of mystery to an already enigmatic case.
Gotta wonder why he did that too. 1 second here.
Chris said his father was the world heavyweight champion of Sicilian liars.
Yeah, he was. From my understanding, he was Italian, Sicilian too. All right. 1 second. Excuse me. So this came out 12 years ago, just so everybody knows. And God bless. Guess who it is? Even back then. Ta-da! It's Miss Nancy. All right, guys, here we go. Now, this is an interview with Dennis Davern. This was the captain that was there that night, being interviewed by good old Nancy Grace. Good Lord. If anybody will pull it out of him, she will. Sorry, everybody.
That night, was there an argument on the yacht?
Yes, that night there was an argument that actually started the day before, but that particular night in the afternoon, Christopher Walken and Natalie, they had gone ashore to a restaurant, which was the only restaurant on that part of the island, and the tension was building throughout the whole weekend of Robert Wagner being jealous of Christopher Walken. And that afternoon, Robert Wagner and myself, we joined Christopher and Natalie at the restaurant for dinner. And we had dinner, we had drinks. Robert Wagner said it was time to return to the boat. Natalie, we all kind of want to stay a little longer, but RJ said, no, we're going to go back to the boat. So we all went back to the boat. I tied the dinghy up on the swim platform with a bow line and a stern line. And we all went inside the boat and opened a bottle of wine, put the kettle on for some tea, because Natalie liked to have tea before she went to bed. And
I truly think because Walken could have taken him. If they would have started a physical altercation, I think Walken would have won. That's just my opinion. I think Wagner was a bit of he could beat up on a woman, but not a man type thing. You know what I mean, Chris? That's my opinion, but that's why I think. But that's a good question. It is.
The jealousy was just getting so tense that Robert Wagner had picked up the bottle of wine and smashed it right in front of Natalie and Christopher on the coffee table. And at that moment, Christopher stood up and he went directly to his stateroom. And that was the last I've seen of him for that whole night. At that point, Natalie was devastated and she went into her stateroom and Robert Wagner had followed. And they were arguing in the stateroom.
That night, Robert Wagner, Natalie Wood, ferocious fight going on. You turned up your music so they would not think in your mind that you were eavesdropping or trying to hear them, but you did hear them.
Yeah, yes, I did. And I kept the music going, but I could still hear the arguing. And then the arguing went on to the aft deck, and moments later, everything became silent. So I thought that maybe they were making up and maybe they were going to go to bed and that was going to be the end of it. So I waited for a little while and I still had the music on. And I decided, well, I'm going to go down below and I'm going to go to the F deck and just see if everything's okay. Robert Wagner was standing there, leaning his back against the back of the boat, facing the boat. And he said that Natalie was missing and would I go search the boat? So I immediately went to my stateroom thinking that maybe she went to my stateroom because she felt maybe that she was safe there, because the night before, Natalie and I had gone ashore and we stayed at a hotel because there was arguing the day before as well. So I came back and I told Robert Wagner that Natalie was nowhere on the boat. I looked in Christopher's stateroom. I looked in the other empty stateroom and she wasn't there. So I said to Robert Wagner, he said to me, he said, the dinghy is gone too. Well, I just knew that Natalie was so deathly afraid of water and not really capable of taking that boat by herself. But he said the boat was gone and she was gone. So I thought, well, let's turn on the searchlight and let's just see if we can see her. So after that, it was like.
And we know that Wagner stopped him from doing that and said, no, have a drink, wait. Sounds to me like he wanted to give her time to get further away from the boat before being able to see her. Do you know what I mean? That's my feeling on that.
He said no.
Now, you said that evening there had been a heated argument between Wood and her husband, Robert Wagner.
Welcome back,
that
Ken.
you came aboard, above the aft, and you observed Wagner leaned back against the wall, and he at that time said Natalie Wood was gone. You searched everywhere. You couldn't find her. Why did you believe that she may be in the state cabin? Why did you think that she would go there?
Well, I thought that maybe she would go into my stateroom because the night before, Robert Wagner wanted to make the decision to move the boat at night, which Natalie did not want to do. The weather was raining, cold, windy, and not a very good idea. Natalie refused and decided that she wanted to go ashore. So that night before, I had taken Natalie ashore in Avalon, and we stayed at a hotel for that night. And we returned to the boat the next day, hoping that things would be a little smoother. So Natalie and we returned back to the boat, and she made a nice breakfast, and then we moved the boat to the other part of the island where there was just only one restaurant. And
why did Robert Wagner want to move the boat, Dennis?
I can't answer that. I don't know why, because it wasn't a very, very good idea. Maybe he was angry and he wasn't sure what quite to do or what. I'm not sure, but it was definitely not the thing to do.
Dennis, you stated that an argument had been brewing for days. What was the argument about?
Well, it wasn't so much verbal, but it was just the tension that was going on the whole time between Robert Wagner, Natalie, and Christopher. It was just getting to a boiling point.
That evening, after you searched the boat, you could not find Natalie Wood. What happened next?
Well, I went back to Robert Wagner and said she was nowhere on the boat. And I said, let's turn on the searchlight. We had a very big searchlight. And I said, let's turn on the searchlight to see if we could see her. And he says, we're not going to do that. He said, no. And I said, well, let's call the restaurant. He said, we're not.
Now, if this guy had nothing to do with her going over, then why would he say any of that? Come on. That's just it. He admitted guilt right there, in my opinion. Okay. Absolutely. Right then and there, he admits his guilt because why would you not turn on the light? Why would you not call the restaurant? Why would you not do these things to help unless you know? So that hotel and the window daughter kept talking about women looking at her was Natalie Wood's room. We knew nothing of her death other than how, but not where. Gotcha. Thank you, Aunt Clara.
Not going to do that either. So we stood there and I was just devastated. I think I was actually in shock. And
welcome back,
Robert Wagner poured me a drink. And it was like, it was like torture that was going on. And after a couple hours, I said, we have to call the restaurant. So we called the restaurant, and right after that, people from the restaurant came out to the boat, and they said that we should call the Coast Guard. We need to call the Coast Guard. So the Coast Guard was contacted, and they were going to start doing their search. And by now it's getting daylight, and they came back to the boat and they say they found Natalie Wood's body floating, and the dinghy was somewhat nearby her.
He knows. I mean, it's obvious he knows, in my opinion.
Right.
It's just, it's unreal to me.
Yeah, you can just hear it in his voice.
Now I'm going to show you, I have a couple more interviews. I'm going to show you the boat, guys, so that you can understand the size of the boat. I want you guys to have a visual of where she was, where everybody was when this all happened, okay?
Yes, Rose, it was found right next to the dinghy.
Yeah, it was close, relatively close.
And this door right here is where she would have gone to go out to the swim step where the dinghy was tied. This is her restroom. Each of the staterooms has their own bathroom. This is hers. And this is pretty much, I've tried to keep this the same as it was when I purchased it, which was 5 years after her death. So I assume it was pretty much original. A vanity, there used to be a vanity right over here. I've tried to keep as much original as possible. And so pretty much I can point it out as we go through the boat, what's original. Like I say, this is, other than the vanity or desk being removed, this is original. I mean, well, the carpets and the floors have all been redone, and of course the carpeting and all that doesn't last 30 years. Okay, now this is where she would have come. Okay, Jabba, we have to stay clear of them, please. Thank you. Yeah. This is where she would have come out of these doors, and you can see when you were getting on the boat that it's a high boat. It's well above the water line, so she couldn't have gotten into the dinghy anywhere except off this dive step. And so this is the door that she would have had to go out of to get to the dive step, which is right here. And the dinghy, supposedly, was tied up here, which is the only reasonable way to tie it up. So she would have come out here to the dive step, and then the dinghy was accessible. Okay, and here's the Wagner Wood logo. It's their logo is two seagulls flying WW.
Oh, so
yes, they had their own little logo. You'll see it more up in the wheelhouse. Now this, which one? I get the books mixed up here. This is the main salon. This is where they would have had, the argument would have started once they got back on the boat.
Okay, so we went from her stateroom outside to.
This is where it would have started. Now she would have gone to her room, close the door. But the boat's walls are so thin, you can hear anything going on. Christopher Walken would have gone forward to one of the staterooms forward. We'll see that later. And the captain went up here to the wheelhouse. Now, Robert Wagner would have gone down to Natalie's room and closed the door. So they were private down there. And this is pretty much, other than the change in carpeting and upholstery and everything, the same as it was.
The wood and that sort of
Yeah, that's all. And here
Welcome, Elizabeth.
you can see, this is a picture, Gene, please. This, the tile, the sink, everything is the same. Lisa, see it?
Yeah.
That's where she made her famous huevos rancheros.
Such a piece of history.
Yes. So this is all the same. This is the book that started it all.
Yeah. I'll have to ask you a little bit
So
about
this is where the captain would have come. Because this is where he would have felt the most natural. Because it was his job to drive. And this is the same, to my knowledge. This is different. This used to be down in the main salon. I brought this up here. But that's original table that was on board. This here, you can see the Wagner Wood logo a little better. Wagner Wood, the two seagulls. Now this chair and everything, all this up here is original to my knowledge. You know, when I say original, it's when I bought it. I recovered this, but I copied this. I have the original. And these are all original. This is pretty much the same. Now, if you'd like to go upstairs here, there's another level. You can get an idea of how big the boat actually is. Now, this is the top of the boat. You can get an idea of how big it is. You can oversee the entire boat. There's a lot of room, but you can get an idea of. There was nobody up here that night. Nobody would, because it was a windy, cold, windy night. And you can see where. Now the jacuzzi that's my addition. They didn't have that. This is where Christopher Walken would have gone to. His stateroom is forward, so is the captain's. This is original. Both these staterooms were the same, twin bunk beds. Nothing's been changed in that one, to my knowledge. This one I changed just for comfort. These were identical, like I say, until I changed this.
I remember the captain was.
The captain would have gone forward into the V berth there. That's his stateroom. Now, if you'll step this way, Lisa. Both these staterooms have their own bathrooms, which are accessible either from the stateroom or from the hallway here. And actually, the fourth bedroom, which would be up there, the captain's bunk is up here. And this actually has a sink and a toilet in it too, so it could be 4 bedroom, 4 bath. And this is where he would have stayed, the crew's quarters.
Okay, so that shows you what the boat was that they were on that night, to give you a little bit of a visual as to where they would have been at certain times, so on and so forth. So now these are the most interesting interviews that I've gotten was from her sister, Lana. As we know, Christopher Walken doesn't talk a whole lot about this. He refuses to. The captain interview, in my opinion, you can kind of read him and tell he's very upset with this, okay? Whether it's due to guilt or whether it's due to, you know, fear. I don't know. It's what, however you take it, in my opinion. Okay, hold on a minute here. I got three of these actually. Give me a moment here. We'll start with this one.
40 years after Hollywood actress Natalie Wood died in a mysterious manner on a yacht, her sister Lana Wood says that she thinks she knows what happened. In a moment, you're going to hear from Lana herself. But first, we want to give you a little bit of background about Natalie Wood and her story. Wood started acting young. Who can forget her in that role, playing the precocious Santa Claus skeptic in Miracle on 34th Street. She was just 8 years old at the time. She went on to act in at least 28 movies, including West Side Story, where she played the leading female role of Maria. She was glamorous and a part of Hollywood and the scene for years, winning 4 Golden Globes, also 3 Oscars. But Natalie Wood's life ended at the age of 45, and the circumstances of her death still a mystery 4 decades later. Woods died during a boat outing with her husband, Robert Wagner, and at the time, investigators said that she drowned. But there has always been questions about this case, and in 2011, it was reopened. And in 2018, Robert Wagner was named a person of interest, yet he has never been charged. Natalie Wood, her sister, Lana Wood, has written a book titled Little Sister, and in it she says and alleges Wagner murdered her sister in a drunken rage, and also claims that her sister was sexually assaulted by the late actor Kirk Douglas. Lana Wood joins me now live tonight with more on this case and the ongoing investigation. Lana, first of all, my heart breaks for your family and what you all have gone through, and even after all of these years, I'm so sorry for your loss and what happened to your sister.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I know it's difficult to talk about, but you lay forth a lot in your book. And let's start with the blame you place on Robert Wagner, her husband, for her death. Do you have any evidence to back up that claim? What led you to that place?
Yes, I do. I lay out the timeline based upon the detectives report, the new coroner's report, not the old detectives that did speak to RJ, the new detectives when the case was reopened. The coroner's report, eyewitness and ear witness, and everything that the detectives have told me.
What do you believe happened that night?
What happened is exactly what I've been told, and according to the detectives, it's rather clear cut if you do not pay attention to rumors and supposed and all of that that's been going on for far too long. Just follow the timeline. Natalie and RJ were fighting bitterly the entire trip to Catalina. The first issue was that he wanted to move the boat very late at night in nasty weather over to the isthmus. And Natalie was against that, as it just worried her that they were going to go anywhere and move the boat at that hour of the night. So that was an issue. Natalie ended up leaving the Splendor with the captain, Dennis DeVerne. They checked into a hotel on the island, and Natalie spent the night there. In the morning, she attempted to get a seaplane to take her home, and she was not able to do so. And she sort of, decided that she would just go back to the Splendor and see if she couldn't make things right or soften things. They spent most of the day on the Splendor. Natalie and Christopher Walken then left to go to the local restaurant bar to have a few drinks, leaving a note for RJ. RJ was napping then RJ and Dennis DeVerne took the little dinghy and went to the island to join. Everybody got together for dinner. It evidently, from several eyewitnesses, was not a terrifically happy dinner. Then RJ insisted that they go back to the boat, which Natalie didn't want to do and Christopher didn't want to do, but he insisted, so off they went. After they got on board and had drinks, it seems that RJ became very angry and picked up a wine bottle, smashed it on the coffee table, and threatened Christopher with the wine bottle. At that point, Natalie was furious and had had enough of all of these ridiculous arguments. And she left the salon, went to her stateroom, washed up, put on a long flannel nightgown and some wool socks, took a sleeping pill, and went to bed. RJ shortly after that followed. And according to Dennis, the argument continued, and very loudly this time, to the point where he was getting a little distressed, Dennis, and he turned up the radio. He then said that it sounded like furniture was being thrown in the stateroom. So he went up to the door and knocked and said, you know, is everything all right? Is there anything? And RJ opened the door a little bit and said, I'm taking care of this, you know, stay out of it.
Right.
Shut the door. Then Dennis went outside again, and he waited there listening to the argument. He then noticed that Natalie and RJ had come out to the back of the boat. He heard the same thing going on and became very concerned because he felt that it had elevated. So he started around the boat to go to the back. When he got to the back of the boat, there was only RJ there. And RJ said to him, Natalie's missing. And he said, missing? And RJ said, yeah, look around the boat and see if she's there.
And then
So
her
Dennis
body was found in the water.
No, not yet. Dennis checked every single room of the boat. It's not a huge boat. And came back and said, she's not there. And RJ said, well, the dinghy is missing too. Dennis then said, I should turn on the searchlight. And RJ said, direct quote, no, we're not going to do that. And then Dennis said, well, should I call, you know, Baywatch? And Dennis said, RJ said, no, we're not going to do that either. So then Dennis sort of felt stuck and very upset, didn't know what to make of anything. And he and RJ continued drinking.
Lana, I'm gonna jump in real quick because I don't want to run out of time with you up against a commercial break.
Yes.
But let me talk to you about Robert Wagner. He's 91 years old.
Yes.
He was named a person of interest in Natalie's death, but he was never charged. When was the last time you spoke to him, and is he reacting to the story and accounts that you've put forth tonight and in the book?
No, he is not. The last time I spoke to him was about 20 years ago, maybe more. I don't really know. RJ, the detectives came to my home, stated that they have enough to charge him with Natalie's killing.
Do you expect that he will be charged and that you'll get the answers that you want?
The district attorney turned them down, saying there was no smoking gun, even though they had all of this other evidence. They didn't. Their boss held a press conference, Lieutenant John Carina. And in the press, the last thing he said to them, he said, RJ is now a person of interest. The case was reopened, as they know. But he said, all we know for sure is that there were two people on the back of the boat and then there was one.
Lana, I'm going to stop you right there. I've got a commercial
Okay.
break, but will you stick around and we'll chat a little bit more right after this? Okay, we'll be
Sure.
right back.
Okay.
Lana, we could keep talking about your sister for an hour, but I don't have that much time. So in a couple of seconds, I'm curious how you want her to be remembered.
I want her to be remembered for who she was, not simply an actress and a star. She was a warm, loving, fun-loving, silly, very intelligent, and all over a wonderful person who
Lana.
loved her kids more than anything.
Lana Wood, sister of Natalie Wood, thank you for joining us tonight. And thank you at home for joining us for.
Okay, so sorry guys. So there's that, and I think that's all money. All money. If you can get to the district attorney and say, well, first off, it's Robert Wagner. Second off, there's money there. That's what I think happened. I think he was paid off, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Hold on here. I got a couple more interviews for you guys. There was a lot that I could pull on this, with obviously because of who it was, but one moment. I'm going to let you speak. Let you listen to Natalie's daughter.
Hi, Kaylee. How are you?
Good to see you, Miss Kaylee. One moment, guys.
Money may not buy you happiness, but it seems to buy a lot of people freedom.
It buys everything else.
Yeah.
People think it's going to buy that happiness, but it doesn't in the end. Hang on, here we go. My computer's being weird.
Welcome to the sauce, Kaylee. Thought you were already a member. Maybe not. That's
Okay,
what I
so here's
thought.
the other interview that Lana gave with Nancy again. Sorry, I don't know why these things won't load. My apologies, guys. Congratulations, Miss Kaylee. Welcome to the sauce. I thought you were in there once, but
She was.
welcome
She
back.
said she came back. I was
Welcome
like,
back.
wait.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, Kim. I have my
You,
window open next
Natalie's
to me.
sister. You refer to her husband, Robert Wagner, as RJ. What is your understanding, Miss Wood, of what happened on Natalie's yacht that night?
Well, I'll backtrack a little bit. When all this first occurred, no one had said anything to me. I heard the news second, third hand through a friend of mine who called me on the phone, and then on the news on television. And
She's an actress too, by the way.
the only thing that RJ ever said to me was, "It was an accident. You've got to believe me," and that was it. I know that I really take a great deal of responsibility for not having pushed more done more. But I was in such shock and denial and confused, and as I still am to this day, actually. It was then, years later, Dennis DeVerne started calling me late in the evening, late at night, Florida time, crying, speaking sometimes incoherently, running words together that didn't always make sentences. Very, very tormented. I mean, the man was absolutely tormented, and started telling me what really happened. I think he was upset to such a degree that he tried to find me at a telecommunications company where I was working at the time, and he told the same things to the receptionist because I wasn't in at the time. He felt horribly guilty. He blamed himself for not being stronger, faster, more insistent. What I gleaned from all of his stories to me was that the entire weekend was quite tumultuous, very, very volatile. A lot of drinking going on, which is not a surprise. That's what people back then did. There weren't so much the drugs; it was you drank. There was a fight. RJ broke a bottle. The fight continued. Natalie left the room, and I guess started to prepare herself to go to bed, and evidently.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Kaylee. God bless. Appreciate that. Gifted a membership. Do you see who got it, Bear? Heather?
Heather. Okay. I was like, heater. Heather.
All right. Well, congrats, Miss Heather. Welcome to the sauce. And again, Kaylee, thank you. That's so very generous of you, dear. We appreciate that so very much. Welcome back to the sauce, Miss Heather. That is awesome.
They were not quite finished with the fight, and RJ followed. Dennis told me that he heard bad physical noises, was his verbiage, coming from the stateroom. He then went to the stateroom and knocked on the door, and he said RJ answered, just opened the door a bit and looked very, very distraught, and said basically for Dennis to go away. And Dennis then walked through the salon, turned up the music so that nobody else would hear, and then began to make his way towards the back of the boat where Natalie and RJ's stateroom is. As he got to the back of the boat, the doors were open from the stateroom, and RJ was standing alone in the back, and said to Dennis that she was gone.
You told me that you heard about Natalie's death and disappearance on TV.
Wow. Thank you, Stormy. That was so very sweet of you. Very generous. Gifted 5 memberships.
Let's see.
Um,
Aunt Clara, Mikey, Be Real, Arctic, and Amethyst Noir.
Amethyst Noir. That's awesome. Welcome back to the sauce, all you guys. And that is amazing, Stormy, and so very generous of you, dear. Appreciate that very, very much. It's awesome. We got 6 new meatballs, or 7, right? 7, I think, today. I have to look. That's amazing. Yes, you guys are awesome. Appreciate that. So very generous. And just thank you so very much. Appreciate that a lot.
Thank you, Stormy.
Absolutely. And Mike, you got one? I got Mikey. That's wild. Okay, on we go.
Why didn't her husband call you?
As soon as you find out, would you let me know? Who knows? Okay. The whole thing was just, a nightmare, a living nightmare. I don't know.
You also stated, Miss Wood, everyone with us is a movie legend in her own right. Lana Wood. You also mentioned as part of your story all of his stories, quote, all of his stories. What did you mean by that? Did his story change?
Dennis's, you mean?
Robert Wagner.
Oh, Robert Wagner. Yes, his story changed. I don't understand why, people are choosing to pick at Dennis, who is finally standing up and got the courage to say all this, when RJ's stories have changed constantly from his interviews with the detective that came on board the Splendor. That was one story that Dennis told me when he got Chris and him together, that everybody was to tell the same story, and that was the story that was fabricated. And then all of a sudden, many, many years later, when RJ decided to write a book, all of a
What's
sudden
up,
he
Mikey?
did smash the wine bottle, whereas before he told, and this is a quote, he told the detective that it was probably broken due to high seas, and it rolled off. Then there was the ridiculous, a bottle of wine was left in the dinghy, and that's what she went after. I mean, it just, why does everyone choose to take Dennis to task? Do we only believe people that are charismatic?
I think everybody had a fear of Robert Wagner for whatever reason, whether it's because he was such a violent, angry person, maybe, but everybody seemed to have a fear of him. Everyone, including somewhat, in a sense, maybe Christopher Walken, which is crazy to me, but that's what it seems to be, per se. I don't know. It's a little crazy.
And big celebrities, and the rest of us is just kind of too bad, huh? I mean, it hurts me. It hurts me that these stories are being told. I can't bear it for Natalie's sake. Obviously, it doesn't hurt me personally. It hurts my heart, but I'm beside myself, as I'm sure you can understand.
What do you want to see happen in the case?
I just want the truth for once and for all. I mean, I just find this whole thing a living nightmare. He said, she said, people getting on sides. There are no sides. There's the truth and there's lies. That it's as simple as that. No one is trying to profit, benefit. It's just, it was time for everybody to tell the truth. Nobody wanted to listen to Dennis before. Dennis was afraid to say anything. And I hate to tell you all this, but, why didn't he object to the boat being moved? Because it's RJ's, and because RJ is RJ. And if he says, I want to move the boat, you go, oh, gee, that's really not a good idea. But, okay, there again, you forget who people are dealing with. They're dealing with a charismatic, movie star, television star. It isn't, oh dear. Well, I don't know. There's so much for me to say. What do I want? I want to hear the truth. That's what I want. I want the detectives that are on this case, the homicide, to be able to do their jobs. They're not going to take sides. They're going to get to the bottom of this. And I want them to be allowed to do so. What I would dearly love is if RJ just, said, hey, I will hold a press conference and I'm gonna say what happened, or call me and tell me. I don't know. I don't know, Nancy. I'm such a mess over all this. It's terrible.
Having this dredged up again this many years after your sister's death, how is that affecting you personally?
Personally, I'm a mess.
Welcome, Kathy.
I spent, most of the time in tears. It's tough for me to do interviews. I really didn't want to, but I've been, roped into some that I didn't care to do and others that I did want to do. I wanted to speak to you because I have a great deal of respect for you and admiration. It's difficult. It's difficult to function. It really is. It's like reliving.
Good Lord, Stormy. 5 more. 5 more memberships gifted. Thank you once again. Are you trying to get one to somebody? Make sure make sure that you have your dollar, you go down to that dollar sign and you have gifting available so that you can receive these memberships that are being gifted.
We got Combat Vet, Willow's Trials and True Crime Discussions, Brown Eyes,
Miss Jana.
Miss Jana, and Heels 91.
All right. Well, welcome everybody again. Congratulations again, Stormy. That's so very generous. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Miss Jana.
Hello,
Thank you
Miss
for being
Jana.
here today. I didn't even know you were here. Wonderful to have you here. And welcome to the sauce, dear. Thank you very much for being part of this. We appreciate you. And that goes for all of you. So we got 10, 11, 12 meatballs, I think, now. That's amazing. Welcome all of you to the sauce. Appreciate you guys so very much.
Her death initially all over again. And it's all the things that I have pushed to the back of my mind that I didn't want to admit to myself, that I didn't want to look at, because I do have a life to continue. And I can't.
Awesome, Janet. It's wonderful to have you here,
it's
dear.
all out in the open again. And I've got to examine my feelings and try to speak the truth without my being concerned about politics and what's right to say and what's wrong to say. Yeah, just, you know what? Truth is easy. Lies are tough. You get caught in lies. Truth is easy.
All right. So those are a couple interviews from her sister, Lana, Natalie's sister, Lana. I do have just a couple more guys interviews for you guys. Like I said, one, I want you guys to hear the one from Natalie's daughter. One moment. And I am trying to pull this one that I couldn't find earlier. I'll show you here in a minute. Again, welcome to all the new members. Wonderful to have you guys here. Let's see here.
Oh, that's awesome, Jana. Oh, don't be nervous. He's cool. Or no, that's not who I'm thinking of. I was thinking of
No, that's still awesome.
yeah.
Congrats. That's amazing, Jana. That's more coverage on Crystal's case. 100%.
Yeah.
I'm super excited and happy for you. I really am. You deserve all the coverage you can get on that, Jana. So God bless. And I will definitely be looking into that once it's said and done. So if it's something I can find. Very, very good news. That is amazing.
Thank you, Mikey.
So this is Natalie's daughter here. Hold on a moment.
No, that was one of the great. That was one of the great discoveries for me as a filmmaker, to discover a Natalie Wood that I didn't suspect existed, and how relevant she is to today. I mean, you look at her life, and you're basically seeing a woman.
She definitely takes after her mother. She's just as pretty as her mother was. Absolutely. 100%, Alicia.
And, fighting for equal rights for women, equal pay, very much at the forefront of the LGBTQ movement. I mean, it's just so moving to see that. And that was a big surprise for me. Not so much for you, Natasha, was it?
Not so much for me. I mean, she was very much, and I remember her to be an incredibly empowered woman. And, she was the boss of our household, the boss of our family, and very much the person that her friends called for advice. So, I knew that she held that power, but I'm so happy that we get to share her empowered self with the world. Well, I know what happened, and it's in the documentary. I mean, we deal with it there. So I'd rather people watch the documentary, you know, see it there.
You know, the thing that was super important, Eric, was to do a documentary that didn't feel like an investigation. There's no need to investigate anything. This was really a story of family, a story of loss, and a story of triumph of the loss. And how do you nurture the image of someone who is gone and focus on a life well lived as opposed to a tragic end? So yes, we do talk about it because it's part of the journey, which is Natasha's own point of view, and her journey is talking about the loss. But I think it's talked about in a way that is hopefully empowering and relatable for people. We all experience loss, especially during those very difficult times we're going through right now. And I think there's something very, very comforting about listening to a tragedy like this and seeing how a family sticks together and holds it together in the face of something as tragic as losing their own mother.
Well, you know, he came into my life, RJ came into my life when I was about 1.5 years. And so I've only ever known him as my father. I really do feel that I have two fathers. And RJ has just, he's been, you know, he just loved me from the minute he saw me, and I just loved him from the minute I met him. And he's been an incredible source of comfort and protection for me. And I really wanted him to be able to have the space to talk about that night and share his experience of that night. I wanted to give that to him.
You know, Eric, something that was really extraordinary from my point of view was to discover that Natalie Wood herself was very much of a nurturer, you know, because she'd been an actor since her childhood. I think she felt that she needed to nurture people, her friends, her family, and so on. And I found the same quality in RJ. I met with him before I started filming, and he was just so kind and generous and courageous.
By the way, this did air on HBO. You could probably find it now. It's a little bit. Let's see. This came out 4 years ago. And as you can hear, Natasha kind of tends to fall by the side of Robert Wagner and believe his story. They put this whole documentary out, and it's got very. I couldn't put it on here to show you guys, obviously, but I did see it. It's got variations of everybody's stories and so on and so forth. I'm trying to pull Robert Wagner's interview for you. It's been very hard to get it, but and show you that last before we shut this down. But again, if anybody would like to see that, you can go check it out. It's called What Remains Behind. It's the Natalie Wood documentary via HBO. So
that it's really empowered me to go places with him, with Natasha, that were, you know, extremely emotional. And he allowed us in, and that was difficult, but at the same time, it was very, you know, powerful, and I hope that comes through.
Well, for me, I hope that people see her, like you said in the beginning, as an empowered, courageous woman who worked really hard on her insides and was a self-reflective person who loved her family and her husband and had a short but incredibly vibrant and beautiful life.
And for me, I would say that the hardest thing in Hollywood or in any sort of artistic endeavor is to stay relevant to your times. And Natalie Wood constantly changed herself. She challenged herself. And I think if there's a message here for younger generation and younger people, who, you know, regardless of the fact that they may know or not know who Natalie Wood is to have the courage to constantly evolve with your times and constantly change and be courageous and curious of the world.
okay, so that it doesn't give you a lot. I just kind of wanted you guys to I have another one with Natasha Gregson, but it's basically the same. She doesn't want to talk about it. She wants people to watch the documentary, and I understand. You know, it tells the stories on all aspects, and here's what it is. Let me try this one more time.
Hi, Bra Guy.
Welcome, Mr. Brian.
Is that Alicia 6?
Hang on here. I do have a couple variations of things for you to see. Interview wise, it's hard to put certain ones up because they're owned by other people.
If I yawn in the microphone, will it make everybody yawn?
I'm sorry.
I said, if I yawn in the microphone, will it make everybody yawn?
It could. Am I boring you that much, Mama Bear?
No, it's getting cloudier and it's making me sleepy.
It looks sunny here, but it's still chilly. I get it.
Yeah, I
get
got
it.
my windows cracked just a little bit and the birds are singing and
I got it. She's that spring air and all that. Yeah.
uh-huh.
Yeah, got it. All right. This was an interaction between Lana and Robert Wagner. Kind of a confrontational situation. So take it for what it is, I guess.
RJ, I just wanted to ask you one thing. I'm really sorry. I know the pain that you're going through and that I'm going through. You know, I know this has not been any easier for you. I know that. But everybody is going to drive me absolutely insane until everybody knows. You know, why won't you speak to the detectives? They're super guys. Clear yourself if you can.
Why would you even bring up anything like that?
Because
You
I'm
realize what
hounded
you've
with it
done?
every single
Do
day.
you realize what you've done?
No, what have I done?
Do you know we have a family? Do you know what you've done to the
Yes.
family?
Yes, I know. I'm not a part of it, thank you. But yes, we have a family.
I'm amazed that you'd even talk to me.
Why wouldn't I talk to you? I've known you since I was a child.
No, I've known you since you were.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Who's the
Can they
other
go
girl?
away? I don't know. The
Yeah.
young man.
Anyway, I have talked to everybody. What do you
I don't know,
accuse
Kevin
me
and
of-
Ralph, I don't accuse you of anything.
You accuse me of murdering her, of taking all these positions. It's incredible. I can't believe that you'd do something like that. I just can't believe it.
RJ, you've changed your story.
I haven't changed
You've never
anything.
said anything to me.
I
you
have never
never,
changed
you
anything.
never for 1 minute stopped and said, "This is what happened." I know it's going to
course I
hurt
did.
me. To me,
of course
not
I've,
to me, you
of course
didn't.
I've stopped and said what happened.
No, RJ, you
There
really
was
didn't.
everybody
You
was on
really
top of that. Look at all these people around. They're
Oh,
all from you.
Jesus Christ, no.
Oh, I can't.
Oh,
You see how he responded to her when she said, "I've known you since," he goes, "No, I've known you since you were a child." Like, that's disgusting to me. I'm sorry, but
yeah,
the arrogance is just too much for me. Okay, hold on. Where is this one? Might work. Let me see.
Phil, she's over on my side now, but previously she fell asleep. She took her a little nap.
We'll see if I can get away with this. This is an interview that Larry King did with him. Some of these, like, there's a Dr. Phil one. Dr. Phil will come with a sledgehammer and smack you if you play anything of his. So,
Right.
Let's see what happens here, guys. I'm gonna try it.
Same woman twice.
Yes.
You married Natalie Wood twice.
I did.
But why did we do that?
I don't know, but isn't it great?
It is when you look back. I have to ask, so I'll let it pass, but I must ask you. They reopened the Natalie Wood thing.
Mhm.
Did you have a comment on that?
No, I never did.
You wouldn't cooperate with the where?
Well, I had already had cooperated with them. You know.
Yeah, you wrote it in your book.
Yeah, but there wasn't anything left to say, Larry. You know, when that accident happened, there were so many people on top of that. You know, at the time, you can't believe it. You know, but when that all came up again, it was so.
Were you shocked that the captain said that?
Well, it was rather transparent. You know, it was rather transparent. I hadn't seen him for a long time, and you know, he wasn't the captain of the boat. You know?
That was the bleakest period of the life, right?
Yes,
that had to be.
Absolutely.
How did
Absolutely.
you overcome it?
Well, I don't think you ever overcome it. And why should you?
Yeah.
Why should you?
It happened.
You know? But I had a great deal of support and help. I had my 3 daughters who were right by my side. And later on, I was so fortunate because Jill St. John,
the best,
came into my life. Yeah, I know you love her.
I love her.
She came into my life, and she had her hand under my arm, you know, and through a lot of help from a lot of friends and a lot of people, it all came.
Watch new episodes of Larry King Now, Monday.
Like I can just feel the arrogance emanating from this guy. That's me. But let me see if they'll let me do this one too. This is just a little bit of one. I don't know if it's going to tell much, but
that he had something to do with the 1981 death of his wife, the Hollywood legend Natalie Wood. Now he's opening up as never before in an interview with his own stepdaughter.
I am Natasha Gregson Wagner, and my mom was Natalie Wood.
It's an extraordinary TV moment.
How does it make you feel when they call you a person of interest?
I don't pay very much attention to it, Natasha, because they're not going to redefine me.
Natalie Wood was a movie icon, the former child star from Miracle on 34th Street, who went on to star in West Side Story and many other great roles. The world mourned her drowning at age 43 off the coast of Catalina Island in California following a night of drinking on board her yacht. Natasha was 11 years old when her mother died. And now in the HBO documentary, Natalie Wood, What Remains Behind, she questions Wagner for details about that terrible night and the violent outburst he acknowledges happened between him and their guest, actor Christopher Walken.
He's telling me what she should do and how she should behave. I said, why don't you just, you know, don't tell her what to do and stay out of her life. And I picked up the bottle and smashed it on the table. And, you know, I was really, you know, angry.
Natasha does not claim to be an impartial reporter.
It's important to me, Daddy, that people think of you the way I know that you are. And it bothers me that anyone would ever think that you would be involved in what happened to her, because you would have given your life for my mom.
And that's true, I would have.
But questions remain. The LA Sheriff's Department announced in 2018 that it had reopened the investigation into Natalie Wood's death.
Right, yeah.
He's a person of interest. He was there with her, last person with her before she ends up dead.
Suzanne Finstad wrote Natalie Wood, the complete biography, which was just re-released with new revelations. She's convinced foul play was involved.
The lead investigator, Detective Hernandez, has said that her bruises are consistent with someone who was beaten.
But Natalie's daughter makes clear she thinks it was a tragic accident. The documentary ends with a lovely montage of Natalie Wood home movies, showing she was not only a great star, but a beautiful soul.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. The witness statements came out and stated they saw 2 people on the back of that boat the night that Natalie went missing, and then 1. What else is there, folks? And the way it all plays out, you can see it for what it is. He was angry. He had a very bad temper. What are you going to do? I believe that Robert Wagner murdered his wife, Natalie Wood, in 1981 by pushing her or hitting her with something and knocking her into the ocean. And she survived as long as she could, based on what we've seen. I couldn't get the pictures of the dinghy that had because I don't know if it's gone, destroyed, or if it's still in evidence, but I couldn't find the pictures that had the scratch and nail marks on the dinghy that I read about. But the way they were described, you could clearly see that they were fingernails. And that, from my understanding, and what it said, that when they did the autopsy on Natalie, that they did find wood shavings under her nails. So there's that. So it just petrifies me to think that she had to go through all that night, and that maybe he'll come forth on his deathbed and say, hey, this is what happened and I did it. I doubt it, but she was raised, Peggy, by him. They grew up with him, and he had her all those years to be able to implant that in her mind that it was just an accident. So you can't blame her. I don't blame her. If that was what she was raised with, then he probably treated the kids very well. That's my opinion, but I am absolutely, just like SRB just said, I'm convinced that he did it. I don't have a doubt in my mind. With what there was more to what the captain had stated, and you can tell that Wagner don't like him. By the way, he claimed the certain little innuendos that, well, he's not the captain of the boat. You know what I mean? Like, that's my boat, so on and so forth. All that kind of stuff. The man is very arrogant, very cocky, and very convinced of himself, and so be it. But I don't believe there's ever going to be justice for Natalie in this. I don't. Because Robert Wagner has money. He's important. He's Robert Wagner, okay? Heart to heart.
Yeah, unless it's like what Critical said, after he passes, then maybe Christopher Walken will.
Maybe. Depending on who lasts longer than the other, because they're both up there. I think Walker's younger, or Walken's younger than him, I think.
Yeah, he's 85, I think somebody said.
And Wagner's 95, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it could come out, but does Walken actually know? Because from my understanding, Walken was in his stateroom most of the night now when this happened. 82. Thank you, Alicia. So I don't know. Miss Sherry said, I was first year law when this happened and everyone knew it was a Hollywood cover up. Absolutely. You can see it. It is what it is. You see it for what it is. It's grand possibility that Walken knows, and maybe Christopher was worried that it would ruin his Hollywood career if he were to come forth and say this, because Wagner was more prominent than him at that point. Now he's not so much, but he was then because of who he was, and been around longer, knew more people, and maybe he was worried he'd be blacklisted if he came out and said something. These Hollywood's people, this is what they do to each other. It's crazy. Either way, guys, it's still a very unsolved cold case. There's no clear answer to it. I don't believe she fell in there and it accidentally hit her head and then drowned. I don't. The fact that the man stated, no, we're not going to turn on the searchlights. We're not going to call the restaurant. We're not going to call the Coast Guard until 2 hours after she fell in the water. Then it's okay, because he knew she was far enough away from the boat now, and that she would absolutely probably be drowned by that point. Go ahead.
Yeah. And the fact that she was deathly afraid of the water, knowing that she couldn't swim, she's not going to get that close to the edge.
I read an article critical about something that they said they found in the autopsy, unless it was misinformation, that they found fragments of wood underneath her nails when they did the autopsy. If that's wrong and you have the autopsy, then sure, that's great. I just read an article that claimed it. That's where I got it from. So if it's wrong, my apologies, but that's how I got that info. So that's why I believed that those nail marks that they had said that they saw on the dinghy made me wonder if that's what she was doing. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't find an autopsy report for it. I looked, and I probably would have to Is it maybe because it's not a closed case, but I know they reopened it, but I thought they closed it again. So I figured you'd be able to get some information out of that, but I couldn't find actual autopsy on it. So, but if that's wrong, my apologies. I read it from an article, so sorry. I think I don't believe it was an accident at all, not by any means whatsoever. And the captain came forth and said what he believed, which is the same thing. I can't remember. There was something else too. Oh, the injury to her, to me, there was an abrasion on her face, and they said some form of a bruise on her head at some part of her head. I thought maybe she was hit and knocked overboard. I thought maybe like during a fight, like they said, she was drug on the floorboards. That could have caused the abrasion. Or if she was pushed, when she was pushed, she could have flipped over and drug her face down the side of the yacht itself before she hit the water. I don't know. There's a lot of different could be's with this one. All I know is that I feel strongly that it was not an accident by any means. That's my feelings on it. I'll look at Miss Sherry said she'll look at the case from the light. There you go. That would be awesome, Miss Sherry. Thank you. So did Gilligan actor. It's just suspicious she was gone this way, in my opinion. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, somebody said something up here that I never knew. Hold on a minute here. I want to look this up real fast while we're here. That blew me for a loop. About Matthew Broderick.
Seems like I vaguely remember that.
I've never heard that in my life. You're gonna tell me Ferris Bueller killed somebody?
Yeah, because I was like, Matthew Broderick. And I was like, oh, Matthew. When I first heard it, and I was like, no way. Like, really?
Oh, wait, hold on.
But
What
I
is
don't
it?
remember the story. I just remember.
Let's see here real quick.
There you go. Thank you.
Of course, I found it. YouTube has everything.
Right?
Well, thank you, Miss Kaylee, for the super sticker. That's very, very nice of you, dear. Very generous. We appreciate it. This guy, of all people. Do you know what I mean? And I went, wait, what? Matthew Broderick, Ferris Bueller, the War Games kid, Deck the Halls, Matthew Broderick. Yeah, like Mr. Innocent himself. You know what I mean? But hey, you never know. I know. Let's see what this says. Hold on. I hate these things. These are not videos. 1 second. There was another one. 1 second. Not to mention he's married to Sarah Jessica Parker too. Forgot about that.
A peaceful holiday after a busy schedule, Matthew Broderick and Jennifer Gray were involved in a fatal car accident that claimed the lives of 2 women. Since the accident, Broderick and Gray have struggled with it and hardly ever discuss it publicly. In this video, we will closely examine what happened on the day of this unfortunate incident.
She was involved too. I didn't know that. Jennifer Gray was the girl from Dirty Dancing, even though she doesn't like her anymore. She had some weird. I wonder if that's why she did that. If she had that weird plastic surgery done to look, she looks like a completely different person. You guys, it's weird. Maybe so people wouldn't recognize.
Maybe.
and the subsequent events. So that you don't miss anything, pay attention. First up, what happened to Matthew Broderick and Jennifer Grey? The two actors who starred in the classic 80s film Ferris Bueller's Day Off have both enjoyed successful careers since the movie's release. However, their lives have been very different. Matthew Broderick and Jennifer Grey,
Guess my wife
lovers
knew
at the
it.
time, were traveling through Northern Ireland together on holiday. The journey was meant to be a break for them both, as Broderick has just finished producing Biloxi Blues, and Grey had just finished making her publicity rounds for the upcoming release of Dirty Dancing. On August 5th, they began their trip from Irvinstown to Maguire's Bridge. During the trip, the couple found themselves stranded on several occasions. They made their initial stop at a gas station to ask for directions when it started to rain, and after waiting for the rain to subside, they resumed their trip. While driving, the rain started again, and they stopped at another gas station to wait it out again. Finally, the couple lost again. They made another stop outside Enniskillen. Here, they approached an off-duty police officer for directions. When the man was aware of their plans, he probably informed the couple that the planned route was dangerous and offered them an alternative that would be better given the bad weather conditions. Sadly, Broderick had no intention of changing his route, and he started driving again in the same direction. The officer followed them for a few miles and said that Broderick was driving at moderate speed. He estimated he was driving around 40 miles per hour. However, Broderick swerved into the opposite lane and crashed the car in a head-on collision with an oncoming vehicle. So, what happened after the fatal collision? The collision was violent, and all four victims were taken immediately to Ern Hospital for medical attention. Regrettably, Margaret and Anna both passed away at the hospital. Broderick and Grey were fortunate enough to live despite escaping the fatal car collision with injuries. Broderick had a concussion, a broken leg, many broken ribs, and a cut-up face from the windows shattering. A local firefighter revealed that in order to provide the American with first aid, they had to rip a side of his car away. For almost a month, Broderick received hospital treatment. It seemed Grey had survived the collision relatively safely, but she later explained that the collision was so intense that ligaments were cut off from the back of her neck, and she had an intense headache for 4 days. Her injuries from the collision made her eventually need spinal surgery. People wanted an explanation for this tragic event because they assumed there must have been some unknown cause for the fatal collision. When Grey was questioned about what had happened years later, she answered that Matthew was a great driver and that nobody was drinking. Broderick was prosecuted for reckless driving and entered a guilty plea. A prison term of 10 years may be for such an offense, with 5 years for each death caused by accident. However, Broderick got off rather lightly. He had to pay a $175 fee to be allowed to return to the U.S. And now, what happened to Matthew Broderick afterwards? Few people in Hollywood ever
What the who?
the popularity wave that Broderick surfed for the better 2 decades. He did, however, begin to make fewer and fewer movie appearances as the 20th century came to a close, and when he did, the caliber of his work wasn't up to pace with what he had previously done. Here are some of the highs and lows Matthew Broderick has seen throughout his career. Broderick had to climb the ladder just like other actors. He didn't merely appear on the Hollywood scene as a well-known figure, he enrolled in the HB studio where he started his acting career. According to the Los Angeles Times, Broderick landed his first role on Horton Foote's On Valentine's Day workshop production. Later, he contributed to Harvey Fierstein's Torch Song trilogy. Broderick was swiftly accepted into Broadway due to a favorable review from Mel Gassow of the New York Times theatrical critic, and his life was never the same after that. In the middle of the 1980s, Broderick was establishing himself as a big figure in the theater world after being cast as Eugene Morris Jerome in Neil Simon's Eugene trilogy. He even won his first 2 Tony Award nominations for Best Featured Actor in a Play for his work in Brighton Beach Memoirs for an aspiring actor. The sky was absolutely the limit, and a move to film seemed all but inevitable. Next, will Matthew ever meet with the victims' families? Broderick didn't immediately contact the loved ones of the 2 women whose lives were lost after being discharged from the hospital. There was a note from him after the accident expressing his condolences, but no other communication according to the women's family. In 2002, 15 years after the incident, it was said that Broderick would try to contact the family on a trip to Ireland the following year. Martin Doherty, a son to one of the 2 women and brother to the other, was eager to speak with Broderick. He claimed that Broderick didn't intentionally kill his mother and sister. Martin Doherty had tremendous emotions at the time. However, he has now forgiven Broderick and doesn't have any resentment toward him.
Wonder how big that check was.
Right.
You know that. I mean, I hate to say that, but I feel like that's what happened.
Broderick acknowledged how difficult it had been for him to accept what had occurred and said he had sought therapy to help him cope. The meeting, however, is said to have never happened. In fact, Broderick faced harsh backlash for appearing in a multi-million-dollar Super Bowl advertisement for Honda in 2012, a decision many deemed to be callous. The two had not yet met, according to Doherty, who claimed that the actor wasn't the best choice of drivers, considering his record. He also recognized that he might find some closure for his encounter with Broderick. He stated that there has always been something in the back of his mind. In County Donegal, Ireland, Broderick and his wife, the Sex and the City actress Sarah Jessica Parker, have a vacation home. So, was Ferris Bueller's Day Off a blessing or a curse to Matthew Broderick? After earning a few smaller roles, Broderick took on the lead role in John Hughes' 1986 classic Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Younger viewers connected with his portrayal of the carefree, lazy adolescent. It was an overwhelming box office critical hit. Considering the film's popularity, Broderick's performance in Ferris Bueller
That's awesome,
became
Brian.
a
I'm glad to hear that,
signature
buddy.
role, but it wasn't without its
Yay.
problems. It can be challenging to move on from one particular role that made you famous in the eyes of fans when you become successful so quickly. Just ask Robert Pattinson, who is only now shedding his Edward Cullen reputation after starring in the film The Batman. Broderick repeatedly tried to break out of his Ferris Bueller persona with the general public, but he never quite succeeded. One of his biggest successes was How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, which earned him his second Tony Award. He had achieved significant success with the stage production of The Producers in 2001 and the film adaptation in 2005 at the turn of the century. He received yet another Tony nomination for the musical, but Nathan Lane, who portrayed his co-star, took home the prize. Nevertheless, what matters more than any accolade or prize in the world is that he was actively involved in what he cared about. And finally, where is Matthew Broderick now? In 2019, Broderick worked in London's West End for the first time in the production of The Starry Messenger. He continues to perform primarily on stage, according to the New York Times. He and his wife of 23 years, Sarah Jessica Parker, who he had met via their shared love of theater, will co-star in Neil Simon's Plaza Suite in 2021. Due to the demanding planning that goes into such a production, Broderick hasn't been able to commit to many large blockbusters and/or long-running television shows, but that doesn't mean that he isn't working on a number. With an average of 2 to 3 credits per year, he still makes appearances in various comedic movies, such as Trainwreck, To Dust, and Lazy Susan. However, he works far more frequently on television because he usually only makes brief guest appearances. He performed in a number of other shows in 2019, including Rick and Morty, Saturday Night Live, and 10 episodes of the Netflix post-apocalyptic comedy Daybreak. He also provided the voice for the animated series. Broderick hasn't exactly been making headlines like his Ferris Bueller days, but it doesn't change the fact that he hasn't vanished, as seen by his busy schedule across almost all visual mediums. That's it, folks. You've made it to the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and keep up to date with our news. Kindly drop a like and subscribe. It means so much to us. Oh, and turn on post notifications.
I guess it's true. I didn't know that. Wow. Pretty wild. What do you think about the Natalie Wood situation, Bear?
It's sad. Because I'm sure he probably did do it.
It's hard to not think that he did. You know what I mean? I mean, there could be proof that he didn't, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Not at this point. From everything I've seen when I first started following that scenario years and years and years ago, I've always thought it was him. So, and then I get into true crime, and it didn't change it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Anyway, I thought it would be an interesting one to cover today. Will it ever be solved fully? I doubt it. In my opinion, like I said, unless Wagner comes out on his deathbed and says, hey, this is what really happened, I don't see it happening. Don't see it change. Not at all. Robbie Benson was at USC when I was there. I wouldn't have known if the girls weren't chasing Robbie Benson. Robbie Benson. Robbie Benson. Why do I know that name? Robbie Benson. Robbie Benson. Oh, really, Sherry? Wow. I haven't seen him in a long time. He definitely did not age the way I thought he would. Ode to Billy Joe. Oh, I bet he was a heartthrob back in the day. This guy here,
Mm.
if you recognize him. Ugh, definitely does not look like I would have imagined now. Let's see if we can. Does he look familiar?
Mm.
Let me see if they show a younger picture of him. He was in a lot of stuff when we were younger. See him there? Or there? Do you remember him now?
Kinda.
Yeah, he don't look the same by any means whatsoever. He definitely aged strangely. I mean, you can see it in his eyes and stuff, but oof. I don't remember what the hell he was in of any importance back in the day. Yes,
Yeah. Val Kilmer. Yeah, I've heard that too.
That my wife was heartbroken. She loved him. He was her first crush. She said, from Top Gun and Real Genius. Those movies she knew him from. Wow, that's wild. That's Miss Wisdom. So that's it for the Natalie Wood story today, guys. The Doors movie, yes. Kilmer. He was in that. He was in Heat. He was in Real Genius. The Batman movie, which was the worst Batman ever. Sorry, Val, but no. No, it wasn't the worst one. I want to say Robert Pattinson was probably the worst Batman. Sorry. One of the worst. One of the worst. Between Val Kilmer, Robert Pattinson, and George Clooney, those were the worst 3 Batmans ever. In my opinion, of course. Of course, we all know Michael Keaton was the best. But hey, Gaia, good to see you.
Ice Castles.
Willow, we just watched Willow the other day. My wife showed it to my granddaughter. Speaking of grands, I'm about to be a grandpa again. I have a new grandbaby on the way. I was just saying the other day how I missed the littles being around and the younger ones. And well, I guess I got my wish because I got a new one on the way.
I think out of all these movies that he's been in.
Thank you, SRB. Who? Val?
No, Robbie Benson. Ice Castles.
Oh, God, yeah. Wow.
But everything else is like, okay, Beauty and the Beast, yeah, I watched that, but I wouldn't have like actually seen him in it.
He wasn't in the Boy in the Bubble movie, was he?
I didn't see that one unless I overlooked it.
He did a lot of I swear to God, I remember seeing him in the 80s after school specials.
Probably. Severance, but I didn't watch that, I don't think.
Severance
is a newer 2022.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Sherry.
I don't.
And Tandy.
Dad.
Dragonheart. I didn't watch that.
Oh, you're right. That was Travolta, Tandy. They kind of looked alike back then a little bit. The hair and the eyes, I think. What else did you say, Bear?
Dragonheart movies. I didn't watch that.
I didn't either. I don't like those kind of things too much. Ode to Billy Joe. I remembered that one.
Yeah, that's one.
One-on-One. I remember that one. There weren't a lot of them. Jeremy. Did you ever see Jeremy? That was a good movie.
I don't think so. The only one I recognize is Ice Castles. I mean, other than the animated.
We watched Ice Castles in elementary school. It was weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
It's very weird. And he played in. Do you know he auditioned for Star Wars? Like what? Who? Luke? Come on now.
Oh, he still has beautiful eyes.
Oh yeah, he's got the eyes, and he was back then. He was like the heartthrob.
I don't think he's I mean, these pictures I saw, it still looks pretty good to me.
Well, to you. I'm a guy. I'm not going to look at him like that. Did you guys know that Bill Murray plays in a band?
Huh?
Bill Murray plays in a band.
How old is Bill Murray? Shouldn't he be like 85, 95 by now, too?
He's up there somewhere. I can't think of what their name was. It was a weird name, but let me see if I can find it again. I just saw it yesterday, and I was like, wait a minute, what? No way. They're touring or something. Oh, Bill Murray and the Blood Brothers.
Huh.
Look at this. Look.
I'm waiting.
There's a whole lot of people that didn't realize we're in bands.
I see the top of his bald head.
You can't miss it. There he is. The fuzz.
Yeah.
Hold on. We'll just do a clip of this real quick. I don't think this will hit us, but.
Well, he looks better than I thought he would. I don't know how old that is, but.
Once upon a time, you dressed so fine. And through the bumps of time in your prime, you knew. People would call and say they were down. You were call. You thought they were wrong.
Okay, thank you.
I'm in shock.
What, that he can't sing?
Well, I knew that he could. I imagined he couldn't sing, but that's just Bill Murray. Come on, that doesn't make sense. I love him as an actor. He's like one of my him and Dan
Right.
Aykroyd, John Candy. They're all my favorites. But what? Come on,
Yeah.
Kevin Costner. A lot of these guys that were in bands. Aykroyd actually did the whole blues thing. The Blues Brothers. He actually did that for real. With John Goodman. And once Belushi helped on it too in the beginning as the act, but then they actually went off and they were doing it together because John Goodman plays a harmonica for real. He played with what's his name from Blues Traveler. They played multiple times together, which is really interesting. A lot of these actors I didn't know. Johnny Depp, he plays in a band. He has for a long time. Corey Feldman, let's not talk about that. That's not a band for me. Let's not go there. That dude tried so hard that it's bad.
Aww.
If he didn't try, he might be okay, but it's so scary.
So he just needs to stick to acting.
Even that's not good, but yeah. Have you ever seen Corey Feldman try to sing?
No. That's why I'm laughing. Because
You
I can't
guys-
picture it. That just doesn't.
You ever been embarrassed for somebody else?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Every time he tries this, I'm embarrassed for him because he's not by any means, and he thinks he's good. And I gotta give him, you gotta give him the confidence that he has. But watch it. He's too confident. And I'm a musician. I'm nobody of importance. I'm not big. Okay, never was. But y'all,
This is old. How old is this?
Now Corey's got a double CD.
Yes, and we hear it's a labor of love
What is
for
he
you. 10
wearing?
years in the making.
first off, the man definitely thinks he's Michael Jackson, but he's not. They did their thing together and they learned stuff, but this is bad.
There's a little bit of a memory coming back or something. I think I might remember this. Go ahead.
So bad.
It's called Angelic to the Core, and he's going to sing for us in just a moment. Corey, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, I want everybody to pay attention to the band, the background singers, and Corey himself. Okay.
You guys.
The angelic, I see it all around
We
me.
see
here.
why. The
What's-
angel
Tell me
band.
what's happening. You got a Grim Reaper look going on, and the angels are here. I don't like this interaction.
Well, no, it's all actually the whole theme of the album is good versus evil, heaven versus hell, all that sort of thing. So they're angelic, and if you look actually at the artwork on the album, you'll see that it's me trying to crawl out of a fiery pit, and it's the angels pulling me out. So that kind of all goes along with the concept.
Why this concept?
Well, probably because I know that angels have probably saved me once or twice in my life, and I like helping them as well.
Okay.
Okay. You really need to look into that a little bit deeper, chick bait. Just do that if you will, please, before you make that statement.
That's why I created Corey's Angels, as a way to help girls who are like kind of lost and needed to find their way to
Yes,
get
Brian.
their opportunities, their dreams, and make them realities. And that's what we do. We try to help them make their realities, their dreams.
And you dedicated one album to Michael Jackson and the other to Corey Haim, is that right?
Yeah, there's actually 4 dedications. One to my grandfather, one to Corey Haim, one to Michael Jackson. Majestic, who was also a friend of Michael's.
And guys, I'm not saying he's a bad person. This is rough. That's all I'm saying.
There's going to be some MJ moves coming here in a minute.
Does it kind of come
no
a little
MJ
bit?
moves. No, yeah, it's kind of a similar style of dance because we grew up dancing together. So he was my idol, obviously, and a lot of my influences.
If you have that feeling, it's about to go down in here. I also have it. Let's do this.
We're going to go for
Take it away.
Here we go.
Get it, all she gotta do is twerk. Hit the club, tell
They try to beat you down, they put you on the ground, they leave you lying there, they're broken down and make a sound. Don't you notice them, they check your life again, make you beg for mercy, still nobody notice them. Just when you think it's all over, no hope in life, so what you gonna do? Every shot flies from exposure, so what have you got to lose? We got nothing to lose, so baby, let's go for it. Come on, let's go for it. We got nothing to lose, so baby, let's go for it. Come on, let's go for it. Everything to the sky, no goal that's too high. Go for it. No, we're not gonna stop until we reach the top. Go for it. The lies they tarnish you, try to abolish you, spin your good deeds until they become bad news. They match your name with shame, they point and laugh at you, that nobody knows their name. You feel beaten, don't have the strength needed to carry on. Comes down to love and devotion, but faith is something that I cannot lose. We got nothing to lose, so baby, let's go for it. Come on, let's go for it. We got nothing to lose, so baby, let's go for it. Come on, let's go for it. We burst into the club, let's start tearing it up. Go for it. So baby, let's go for it. Make some more hope. Go for it. Get it. I'm trying to baby, share the line. Get it, hit the club. You see this girl showing me love. Let me get it. You see that baby, share the line. Get it, hit the club. You see this baby showing me love. Let me get it. Cause all she wanna do is work. All we wanna do is work. Sound box, velvet twerk. All we wanna do is party. Get your hands up in the air. Wave them high side to side. Now just let the doctor hear. You say get it. Come on now, get it. Say it with me, get it. Yo, Falcon, go for it. Woo! Go. Get it. All she better do is twerk. Get it clear. Yo, tell her go for it. All she better do is twerk. Get it clear. Tell her go
I don't know what to say.
Got nothing to lose. Just go for it. That's what he did.
Oh,
I'm
good
just
try.
saying, the guy's got confidence, and God
Yeah.
bless him for that, because he definitely needs it. Wow. Anyway,
Oh,
yes, Mama Bear's going to buy a CD right now. It'll probably be the fourth
okay.
one he sold. What year was this? This was, I remember seeing this on the news
I'd say that had to be.
8 years ago.
I'd say it had to be at least a minute ago.
Yeah, because he don't no, and he's still
He
pulling
still
off
looks very
that.
young.
He what?
I said in that he still looked very young.
Oh yeah, he's aged decently enough. But the problem with him that I
He
don't
toured
like,
with Fred Durst.
surprise, poor Fred. Fred's changed a lot too. That's another weird situation, but so be it. I think once you get to a certain age, you just gotta kind of, if you're not like Steven Tyler or something like that, you gotta just accept you can't do it and move on. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So the thing that bothers me with Corey Feldman, I like them both, him and Corey Haim. I'm a huge Lost Boys is like my favorite movie ever. Back in the day, I wanted to be them, one of them things, when we were kids. He took full advantage of a situation that wasn't his to take advantage of. He tried to claim all this abuse bullshit that happened, which did happen to Corey Haim. I don't know what or if anything happened to Corey Feldman. And he tried to claim that he was Corey Haim's best friend and this and that and all this other stuff. And they did an interview with Haim's mother and his sister, and it was not like that at all. And it was him claiming that and listen to me. Gaining from that. And that's a problem for me. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Be you and claim your own stuff and grow from yourself, not from somebody else's misfortunes and issues. The only thing he did was he hooked one of the biggest issues that happened with Corey Haim was he hooked him up with the guy that hurt Corey Haim, which was Charlie Sheen, from my understanding. That's what he did. You didn't save him. You didn't help him. You didn't anything. And I watched some episodes of this show that they were on where Corey Haim is telling him, you're not my friend. You're not helping me at all. You're hurting me, blah, 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 blah. Then the interview with his mother and all that other stuff kind of proves all that stuff. It's like, wow. That's some sick shit. But whatever. Do your thing, dude. If that's what you got to do to be you. Sorry that you're not acting anymore. You've grown out of yourself. You have to figure out a way to do it.
Wow,
You're right.
Charlie
Ryan.
Sheen's only 59.
Yeah. Well, the man's been around and done some stuff. That's why he looks so much older. At least to me, he does.
Yeah.
I mean,
thought he was older.
All these people that, hey, Cassie, that we've learned about and heard. Like, what did I learn today? Something I never knew, that Kirk Douglas, Michael Douglas's father, was accused of sexually assaulting Natalie Wood. I didn't know that.
Wow.
Kirk Douglas is one of Hollywood's greats, So, and you learn all these things about these people. And it's like, really? This is what we grew up knowing and glorifying and wanting to be like at some point. And then you learn these things. And you're like, ugh, no. Bad stuff. You know who Kirk Douglas is?
Yeah.
Michael Douglas, I'm sure. Yeah. What the hell was that? I loved Michael Douglas and Jewel of the Nile. Is that what it was called? Romancing the Stone. That stuff, yeah. Him and Kathleen Turner were in that movie. River Phoenix. That was another bad situation. He was in one of my favorite movies too.
Yeah, Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct. You're talking about
Michael
Sharon
Douglas.
Stone?
Sharon Stone, Michael Douglas.
Oh, yeah. She's from here. She's from Canton, Ohio. Her name wasn't Sharon Stone.
Obviously.
Yeah, Fatal Attraction. That's what it was.
Ooh, he's 80.
Or no, Fatal Attraction was the one with Glenn Close. Who's 80?
Michael Douglas.
He's getting up there. Kirk died, I believe, but Joaquin Phoenix, he weirds me out. I'm not real fond of him. His brother, though, was one of my absolute favorite movies of all times. It's called Running on Empty. It had River Phoenix in it, Judd Hirsch, the guy from Taxi, Dear John. It had another little kid in it, and the mother was I can't remember her name, but the movie was about they were underground activists that supposedly blew something up and they had to go into hiding, and they were raising their kids in hiding, and they had to keep leaving every time somebody would get close to them. And at the end of it, River Phoenix was too old for it and didn't want to have to run. He had a girlfriend, which was that, I think, Martha Plimpton. And he stayed behind and the family left. And it was just it's a great movie, but not really. Sad, but good. And my favorite song of all times is the theme song for it, by James Taylor. What the hell was the name of the song? I love the song. I can't think of the name of it. But anyway. It was a great movie, though. It really was. A lot of good acting. 1 second for a minute. Okay. So you saw it too, Brian. Christine Lochte. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Great movie. They don't make good movies like that anymore. Yeah, Fatal Attraction was Glenn Close and Michael Douglas. Basic. You were right. Basic Instinct. That was the other one. Probably. There was a lot of them, though, guys. Joaquin Phoenix and River. They had like 8 or 9 siblings or something, didn't they? They all had weird names like that. They were all named. I think their parents' names is what it was. But Fire and Rain. Thank you, Irene. Bingo. You guys are so smart. Yes, that song by James Taylor is probably one of my absolute favorite songs ever in life.
Now, when Heath Ledger died, I cried.
That was rough.
I really liked him.
No, a lot of people did. He was a good actor. But the way he died and what he went through beforehand is what made it sad. I agree with you. Definitely sad. The Culkins, another weird setup. They're strange. Heath Ledger got the Olsen twins out of acting. Okay. Heath Ledger was probably one of the best Jokers that could ever be, though. He really was. See, that's probably, they said that in part probably brought him to his demise because he was a method actor and played the part even when he wasn't playing the part and went for a long time. And yeah, he had some things going on because of it. It got in touch with his mental health issues that he had that you can hide, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when that came out, it caused problems. So I feel bad. I can't listen to Fire and Rain. It's a song we sing in choir. Oh God, I'm sorry. Kat. It's a sad song. If you put it in certain situations, but it was an amazing creation by James Taylor. I'll say that much. All right, guys. Anything else to add to this for today, Mama Burr?
Duet, sorry.
You got anything else you want to add to today at all?
No, don't think so.
Yeah, Andy Kaufman's another loss. That was a huge loss. He was
Paul
wild.
Walker and Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, amazing. Any actor is a loss that passes. Paul Walker, I was not. Caden got upset about him because he was very into the Fast and Furious movies. Yeah,
me too.
James Taylor was involved with Tapestry. Oh yeah. I love James Taylor. About
Amy
anything.
Winehouse.
That was. I don't even know how to take her situation. I don't. She was talented for sure, but the life she was living just Mm-mm. Blink 182 song. Did Blink do that song too? Or did I miss something? Oh, the Wonderland murders. We covered that here.
Hmm.
Two.
I think I was gonna say a couple times.
Yeah, the one time it was for the Adam song. Yeah, that was horrible. We covered it for the midnight series thing we were doing with the true crime, true stories behind movies.
Hmm.
Oh, okay, I got you. I like Blink too a lot. I'm big time fan of their drummer, of course. It was one of my influences, but I don't think I've heard that one. I've heard Adam's song, which was sad. We could have a talk about this stuff all day and all night, guys. So much stuff to talk about.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I don't want to talk about sad stuff anymore.
do what?
I don't want to talk about sad stuff no more.
Nope, nothing sad. I probably have. I just don't know it. Oh, yeah. Travis Barker. A lot of people disagree with me. He's one of my influences for me to be as a drummer. So they're like, he can't drum. He can only play that type of music. Bullshit. Travis Barker can put anything. You put a set of drumsticks in his hand. He can play you anything. I've never seen a alternative rock drummer play rap songs on the drums when they're made by drum machines, and he did it. So I don't want to hear that.
My favorite drummer, and I can't think of his name right now to save my life. It was so impressive to me, anyway. I'm not a drummer. I don't know anything about it though, so keep that in mind. Was the one arm?
Rick Allen from Def Leppard.
Yeah.
That was an amazing story. If anybody knows that story, that's absolutely beyond amazing how he did what he did.
I think I heard it. I'd have to go back and hear it again, but
Heard the story or the songs?
the story.
I can tell you real quick what it was. Is he had an alcohol and drug problem, like a lot of musicians do when they first get out there, and he had a 1984 Pontiac Trans Am that was supercharged, and they were over in the UK where he was from, and he was racing it basically, and he was under the influence, and he rode it. And when the car landed, it landed on his arm and basically killed his arm. He had to have it amputated shortly thereafter. And he was the drummer. Well, guess what? Then you think your career's over. Joe, what's Joe's first name? Joe Elliott. And I can't think of the other guy's name. They approached him while he was in the hospital, and he was all amped up about doing the Hysteria album, which was coming up. That's the one that had Pour Some Sugar on Me. And they just kind of were like, I don't know that we're going to be able to do that. We're looking for another drummer, blah, blah, blah. And he wasn't going to let that happen because that was his whole life. He loved it.
Right.
From there on, they had so much time to put the Hysteria album out. And from the time that he left the hospital till the time that they were going to record the album, he set out and found multiple digital drum sets. He stopped drinking. Of course, because of the situation, multiple different types of electronic and digital drum sets, and he built them together. He built his own drum kit that he can run with one arm and 2 feet, and played better than most drummers that can play with 2 arms. It's amazing. He figured out triggering electronic triggers so that they can have like repeat cymbals and drums and stuff. And he plays a snare with his foot. He plays the bass drum on a trigger, and it's all electronic. Absolutely insane. And it's amazing. And he still plays it to this day, and it's still amazing.
Yep.
That right there is a story of any story. If you could.
Yep. He was always my favorite.
He's amazing. Absolutely amazing. One arm. Think about it. And he's one of the guys that actually, I think he is the first that built trigger boxes for drum sets that drummers never used, even electronic drummers never used, because and it just takes, you hit a button or you tap something with the stick and it'll repeat.
Cool.
And repeat and repeat, and you'll set like a background rhythm, 2 beats going, like a 2 beat, and then he can play the other 2 beat, and then add-ons and fill-ins come in from the electronics too, and it sounds absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So
Well, congratulations, chick. That's great.
for what? Stephen Hawking's had the voice computer too.
No.
Yeah, that's very
Chick
true.
stopped drinking for 2 months.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Very proud of you. That's a feat. That's amazing. Anybody that can do that, you're absolutely amazing. God bless. All right, guys. I think that'll do it. Be back in here. Oh yeah, Chad Smith from the Peppers, Chili Peppers, another great drummer. I agree. Gotcha, Brian. We'll be back in here later on. You guys have to stop. Chester Bennington was amazing too.
Right.
I'll keep going all day. But anyway, I'll be back in here a little later, hopefully. The boss is home today, as you've seen, and she's in that cleaning mode, so we'll see what she has. It might be later. We'll see. I don't know, but yes, we definitely appreciate everybody joining us today. Mama Bear, thank you for joining me today. Guys, please make sure, if you haven't done it yet, to please hop over before we take off and hit the like button on Mama Bear's side of things. I appreciate that. And make sure you subscribe if you have not. We got her to 500 today, guys. That is an absolute amazing thing, and I appreciate you all for that. Okay, Brian. I'm not a big fan of Sonny Bono. Sorry, chick. Nothing against anybody that likes him. I just don't. Yeah, that was bad, Cassie. Mikey, thank you guys again for joining us. You guys, don't forget to love yourselves and love each other. Don't change that. And you guys are the beautiful people. And we will see you guys here very, very soon. Bye.
Thank you everyone for all of the subs. I appreciate it so much, and I will see you all later. If not, have a great weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Typing at the speed of light, hunting down the shadows, bringing wrongs to right, digging deep in the data, facts sharp as a knife. With every single story, he's fighting for a life. A voice for the voiceless, he won't stay quiet. Daniel's got the fire igniting the fight. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim story, he pulls at the strings. A hero in the darkness, hear the truth he brings. Streaming loud and clear, cracking cases open, hearts filled with fear. These channels are beacon in a world gone wrong. He guides us through the chaos, a soldier so strong. The clicks and the lights, they follow his lead. With every new case, he plants a new seed. Sharing their stories, giving hope where it fades. Daniel's a warrior through the trials he waits. In a world of silence, he shouts out their names. Daniel's got the fire igniting the fight. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim story, he pulls at the strings. A hero in the darkness, hear the truth he brings. From the shadows you rise, are streaming loud and clear. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim story, he pulls at the strings. A hero in the darkness, hear the truth he brings. Truth out answering the call. From every soul forgotten, he's here to stand tall. Daniel the genuine, will always give it his all. Daniel's got the fire igniting the fight. True crime revelation shining through the night. With every victim